And we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Four Seasons tournament series held in Italy. My name is Will, better known on the internet as Will Hall EXP, and I am joined by none other than Sam Dam, straight off Eternal Weekend. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very good, Will. I'm so excited for this tournament. 4Seasons is a big name, and now they are also doing this for their own tournament. So yeah, let's just dive in.
Exactly. They got the biggest tournaments, going around in Europe. They want to put on the biggest streams for all you beautiful people at home. So that's why they brought us in to try and make that experience a little bit better for you. Yesterday, though, we had modern action all the way through 9 rounds of that. Today, well, we're starting with some legacy action all day. And I know that you're a big fan of this, Sam.
I am Legacy is my main format. I think it's really cool. So many decisions to be made. I'm hoping to see a lot of new cool stuff popping up in Legacy today. I'm sure we'll have some great games. It's Italy, so a lot of control magic. So maybe we'll have a lot of grindy games. Guess we'll find out soon.
The one thing I think that people don't realize at home watching this is with me and you on the screen, this is 50% of the legacy infect scenario,
Yes, yeah,
meta in one. There's only 4 of us in the world. 2 of us are right here, right now. So probably
exactly.
chances of any sort of infect action happening on the stream is not going to be a thing. We've got 304 players in attendance this weekend today, battling out to try and get themselves to that top 8, where of course where all the cash prizes are going to be. We've got a round 1 feature match set up, ready to go. So let's have a look at what decks they are, and more importantly, who is piloting them.
Right, so firing off here. We are going to see lands by a very known name here, Rodrigo Tagoras. Let's dive into the lands list, and one card that immediately pops out to me is Skateboard. Will, do you know what that does?
I know what a skateboard does in real life. I'm not entirely sure in Magic terms. Talk me through it.
Nice. I was wondering about it because Skateboard is a new addition from the Turtle set. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the one. And what Skateboard does is when it enters, you may tap target permanent, and a equipped creature gets +1/+0 and haste. And the reason why Tagoras is playing this is that we basically want to give our 2020 haste. That's the most important part. So in the past, we played Lava Spur Boots, but there has been a lot of chatter about this card. Is it better or not? Because now we do not get Ward 1 anymore, but we do get to tap down a permanent. And it has a lot of upsides, maybe we can tap down a land like Mazavith or stuff like that. So people have been wondering about, is Skateboard better? So I'm hoping to see it into existence this time. We'll find out, but I think it's an interesting addition. Apart from that,
cool.
the list seems relatively stock.
All right, well, let's see what they're going to be going up against on the other side of the table.
Right, so opposing deck here is a well-known deck in Legacy at this point as well. We are seeing Cradle Control here being played by Cortesi. I hope I pronounced those names somewhat correctly. Let's dive into the list. Something that stands out is this player has decided to play Allosaurus Shepherd. This is a card that used to see a lot of play, but these days it's not a staple anymore. Some play 0, some play one of them. We are seeing one of them in this list. I imagine it's not going to be relevant in this matchup, and we're also going to be seeing 1 Talon Gates. We are going to be playing 1 or 2 in this list. And apart from that, the list seems stock. We have Natural Orders, we have Green Suns needed to find the stuff that we need. And my expectation is the Cradle Control deck wants to go wide and try and win that way from lands. And I guess lands are going to try and win as soon as possible.
I was just going to ask you on that one. Obviously, like lands is a deck that I really like. Lands. I just wish it was in my price budget to actually play. Or
Yeah.
like the game plan, the strategy of that versus this. This looks more to me like more of a mid-range game where lands has got that early combo, but could kind of grind it out into the middle. If we get to the mid to late game, which deck do you think is going to be able to pull away and go, pull ahead?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Lands has, of course, the option of with the Urza Sagas making so many of those big artifacts and then get through the finish line that way. But we have the Natural Order package in the Cradle Control deck, and I think if we are able to attract some once or maybe get to Cratercoof Behemoth in, if we go wide, we didn't really care about the Mazavits coming from the lands deck. So it's difficult to say who's favored, honestly. I'd say if I get to choose for game 1, I think Cradle Control is slightly favored.
All right, well, looks like the players are sat down. They're ready to go. So we're going to go down straight to it now. And we're going to kick off round number 1 here at 4Seasons Legacy main event on the Sunday. Let's get down to it. Let's have a look. So it looks like we're starting off over on the Cradle Control side. Can we go fetch ourselves up a Bayou?
This is cool, Rodrigo. Quickly just checking the card. I imagine he knows what Misty Rainforest does.
I was thinking that. I think they're looking at the signature. They're like, yeah, who signed this?
Yeah. Is that an extra ability or not?
Have you ever played against someone where you've signed one of their infect cards and they beat you with it?
Unfortunately, Not yet. I had to sign cards already, but I haven't played against them in my
You
own
haven't played it.
signed Infect card yet. I think that's the
Here's a
Birds of
Birds of
Paradise.
Paradise. Yep, that's
Yeah.
a Birds of Paradise.
What's that
Over on the other
offering though?
side, on lands, how are we going to start off? Obviously, they can have some explosive draws, mainly because of cards like this.
Yeah, indeed. I think Lands wants to be as explosive as possible, so we may just see as soon as possible going to for making the 2020. That's a Mox Diamond. I don't catch that
That
artwork.
is an Urza's Saga. That is a very
Okay,
expensive Urza's Saga in foil. One of the new
nice.
ones that came out from it's like a secret lair shenanigans that happened, and you could potentially get one of these, and it sold out. Blah 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 blah. But that is a very expensive land to start kicking off here with. But then this is Legacy 101.
Ooh,
There
there
it
we
is on
go.
the screen. Thank you,
Wow.
production.
Yeah, nice. Okay, looking pretty cool. So the game plan of the chorus is just trying to make some of these big artifact creatures and try to win the game that way. But that wasteland is really good, being able to get rid of the saga straight away. So yeah, I think Paolo. And here we have the White of the Reliquary. Do not let them adapt with that card. They can do so much weird shenanigans. So I think Paolo is favored.
Well, how when you say that, what they can do some shenanigans, what shenanigans can they do? And do I have anything over on the land side to be able to deal with it? One moment we just see now in Disruptor Flute.
Well, exactly. So yes, we have Disrupt the Flute, so immediately naming the white. What you can do with white is you can basically sacrifice a creature to fetch up a land that you want to find, and we have so many cool lands that we can get. For instance, we can get Quiet's Cradle if we want more mana. We can have Talon Gates to get rid of one of those creatures the opponent controls. However, in this matchup, there's not all that much we want. I guess Wasteland is the best thing to find here, but I guess that's not an option right now with the Disrupt the Flute.
Why would you say Wasteland's the best option here?
Because what we can do is, well, the deck is named lands, so what we want to do is we want to, of course, get rid of their lands. We also have like stuff like the one-offs. We have Bajuka Bog. If they have Life from the Loam in there, we can get rid of it. Sometimes we can even get Dryad Arbors if we just want to have more attacking stuff. So it will depend on what we want to find, but right now, with the Disruptor Flute shutting down the white, we're in trouble.
Right, well, trouble is exactly where I want my opponents to be when I'm playing against them, and give them a hard time. Let them navigate how to win this game while I can do my game plan. Let's look at the players in the tank. We see some people might recognize one of those members in our backup feature match, which I'm sure we will get to later on. We're going to start off with Seju from land. Is that a signature? Or is he just squiggled on that? That just looks like two C's to me.
I think Takoros is a signature lover
rotation.
because all the cards are looking as to be signature or having a signature on them. It seems to me like.
Well, crop
So I guess
rotation.
here,
What are we going to go find?
yeah, we already have the Thespian stage. So yeah. Oh, okay. No, that's also a good one, of course. So we have the most cool card in this matchup. We have the Tabernacle of Pendrel Vale. I hope I pronounce everything, so many words, I pronounced them correctly. So this is scary for Paolo because now all our creatures, we need to pay 1 to keep them alive. And now Cradle Control does make mana very quickly, but I do think that this is going to be scary. We're going to need some way to get rid of this, this Tabernacle, or else we may just never be able to play another creature because we can't pay for it.
So when we pass the turn in our upkeep, we've got to pay 1 for each creature. If we do not, that creature then will then get to. Is it destroyed or you sacrifice it? Let me see.
I think it's destroy because you don't if you don't have to pay for the 2020 Lage token, which is a really cool interaction as well because it's indestructible. I think I caught Natural Order in Paolo's hand though. I'm not sure, but I think it was in the hand, so that could be a way to get out of this here.
Is that going to be good enough here? Because obviously we're going to go to 3. Like we untap. We're going to have free lands or free mana. We have to pay for at least one of these creatures if we want to keep the bird around. Then we got to have the 4th one. Then to Natural Order and keep it around. Like, is it going to be hard enough? We see the little tap there on the tag panel going reminder in your upkeep. Please, would you like to pay 2? Would you not like to pay 2? And this, it's really going to slow them down, right? It's just an inconvenience. It's like that. What's that card in EDH where everyone goes, "Will you pay the 1?"
Heuristic Study, I think.
Heuristic Study, that's
exactly.
the one.
Exactly.
I don't know why I asked you that. I like with EDH players, I don't know. But
I mean, I like EDH, so
around.
I really like this play by Paolo because since we can't use the white anyway with Disrupt the Flute, why would we pay mana for it, right? And now we play a land, so very soon we might be able to have the possibility of playing the National Order. So I think this is a cute heads-up play. And it also means that Paolo currently does not have any way to get rid of the Disrupt the Flute. We do have one. We have Grist the Hunger Tide, but we need to have it. It's usually just a singleton. So I like this play a lot.
We've got a green Sun Zenith. I think that's been brought to the front of the grip here. A couple of different options for 1-2. If we go and search, looks like we're going to go for the 1. So we've got options of what, a Shepherd, Birds of Paradise, even a Ranger if you want to.
Yeah, we also have
Safekeeper.
Sylvan Safekeeper, but maybe just Query and Ranger. That's the way how we can very quickly generate more mana. That would be my guess, because if we want to go for the natural order route, and you can see Paolo here flipping it to the front. Query and Ranger really cool because what it says is you get to return a forest and then tap a creature. So what you can do with the Birds of Paradise, it's just a way to generate more and more mana. But we could also just go for, yeah, I'm just going to play a Noble or an Ignoble because that also generates mana. I don't think there's anything right or wrong here, but we do decide to just go for the Ignoble.
So my question on that one is, we have the option to Sun Zenith for 2 over 1. Why are we only doing it for 1 and leaving the Birds of Paradise up potentially for mana, rather than going for 2 and get something like a we could get the new cub, Badger Cub. That's one of the new cards that's kicking around for 2.
Excellent question. I think we just want to have mana. That's probably it. White is off the table because usually with Green Sun Zenith we get White or Reliquary, which is the best card on the deck, or the most scary one. But right now, I think the game plan of Paolo is just, yeah, I need to get some mana going, so that's what we are going for. Let's see
I
what this
feel
loam
alone.
gets.
3 lands going to go back to the
Saga.
grip.
There was the Saga in there, Beseju, and see what's this one?
That
That
is a
Dryad Arbor?
Dryad Arbor, I believe. Yeah, I
Ooh,
think that's one
cool.
of the alternate art driver. It's been a while, but I know my alternate arts.
Are you a fan of alternative arts, Will?
I am. Yes, I think I am. I think it makes our life harder in the booth, but I am a fan of the alternate arts.
I
Here
get it.
comes that Badger Cub I was speaking about. Maybe this is the reason we didn't do it for 2, because we already
Exactly,
had one
yeah.
in the hand. But of course, this is
Badger
going to
Cub.
accelerate all the mana from all of our mana dorks that's coming forward. We're going to
And
see
you
a
can see
Beseju
Rodrigo
on the land.
just, yeah, Rodrigo knows what's coming. He does not want all these shenanigans happening where you can, like Badger Cup says that if you tap a land or when you tap a land for mana, you get an additional green, which means that you just make so much mana. And Rodriguez knows that Natural Order could be coming anytime here. And if we can Natural Order for Crater Hoof, this game could be over really quickly. So we just do not want our opponents to have creatures, which is why we
Yeah.
immediately fire off the Beseju here.
Yeah, and any mana dorks will produce an extra green. And I believe we fired off the
Yeah, right.
Beseju in response to the land being targeted. Because, of course, if we did this once it had the earth binding to it and then it was destroyed, it would go back as being a land. And because it's a nice little surveil land, we'd also get that option. But nice little play here, being able to now. And I don't think the last time I saw a Hodak was like 2000 and what,
Yeah,
2018 last time I saw this guy come out. Craziness.
exactly.
Talk to me.
It's
Why
cool
are we
because
playing it?
Hogak, you would not expect it to be in Cradle control, but it's just so good because you are so able to play this Hogak so easily that it's always nice. Now, for Rodriguez, Hogak itself is not the biggest issue because you have Mazavith. So I think he's most afraid of them going wide, but we know that Paolo has the Natural Order in hand, so he could play the Hogak at this point, see if Rodrigo has the Mazavith. If not, this could be good enough, but if he does, we can still just go for the Natural Order into Crater Hoof and then just go wide. So currently I think Paolo is slowly creeping ahead, and let's see what Rodrigo has left.
What can they do? What's Rodrigo's best options in their deck? What sort of ways can we get out from underneath this if the worst possible happens next turn and a Crater Hoof was to come down?
Yeah, that's scary because if you have Crater Hoof, there's not all that much that you can do. You can't stop the Crater Hoof from resolving because we don't play anything like counter magic or stuff like that. So we do have, I think that's Blast Zone to get rid of these cheap creatures. There we go. That's a good one. So the 1-drops get destroyed immediately. So that was good, but I don't see a Mazavith now. So this Hogak might just be good enough.
But it's going to be
And
what a 2-turn clocker that we've got at the minute. So
and
Dried
now I
Abbot's going
think
to come out.
Rodrigo wants to have a Mazavith to just stop down this Hogak. We'll see. That's a crop rotation. So my guess is that we just get Mazavith and we're going to use it on the Hogak. And well, that's especially the thing that we were talking about. I'm wondering if we have... Oh, that's a Caracas. So this is also another line that we could do. Hogak is legendary, so we can bounce the Hogak. That's really cool. And now, Paolo, if they want to replay this, it doesn't really do anything because it's still legendary. So also, if we have a Traxa now, again, this Caracas can just continuously bounce this. So I think right now, Paolo is looking for being able to get that Crater Hoof going and playing a bunch of creatures.
Here comes the Saga coming back down. Obviously, that's what we saw in the first turn. Just pass the turn back. Make sure you pay the 2 for those 2 creatures on the other side if you want to keep them around. We've got access to 5 potentially. We can just tap the the Dried Arbor here to produce 2 because of that Badger Cub. So that will keep both around. That's what we're going to see happen.
Mhm.
Then we're going to draw for the turn.
I do think we are in for a grindy game here. Both of these, and this is possible for both of these decks, lands and Cradle Control, they can both go for the grindy game. And I think also, if on Pylo's side, if we do now find Grist, the Planeswalker, that would also be really nice. It allows us to go wide and is potentially able to just get rid of this Disruptor Flute if we want to. So I think that would be a good find.
Would you natural order right now for an Atraxa just to restock our hand? We've currently got 1 card in hand. It's the natural order. You know, we're not pulling away from this game any. Oh, I suppose we've got 2 cards in hand. We're not pulling away too quickly here. Is it worth just getting it on the board? Yeah, it's going to get bounced with the Atraxa. That's kind of fine. But ideally, we're going to be able to get another 2, 3, maybe 4 extra cards into our grip to keep continuing with this game. So Rodrigo doesn't actually run away with it. Now the Saga is going to start being online as early as next turn.
Yeah, really good question. I guess it depends on the rest of the hand. If I would have like multiple creatures, I'd rather just try and go for going wide and being able to slam it with Crater Hoof. Now, this is scary because of the Pendril, of course. The Tabernacle Pendril fail. So we need to navigate this very carefully. We could also go for the route, I'm just going to refill my hand. But we need, of course, if we refill the hand, we need to be able to play them. Also, the Caracas is going to bounce the Atraxa. So I'm honestly not entirely sure what the best play is. I think there's not one correct play. It's going to be a decision if I just want to refill or go for the win con. But Paolo will show us now, and it looks like we are going to go for the Atraxa.
I like this line. I like refilling. I think we need to keep the number of cards in our hands, just trying to overwhelm the lands deck. They've got their game plan going right now. They're making attacks in our mana. They've got ways to bounce our stuff back, and now they've got ways to apply pressure to the board, which is going to be real problematic for us. I know what you're saying. Just go as wide as possible. Try and get that big 1 shot in, but doing that 1 shot with all this taxing effects was really going to hurt us. But we've still got a lot more game left in this, as Atraxa is going to come down. My favorite Phyrex in general, in case anyone was wondering. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink. 7/7. When at ETBs, look at the top 10, put 1 of each card type into your hand, or up to 1 of each card type to your hand. So we see land, instant, creature, sorcery.
I see Gaia's Cradle. That's a very good one, especially against the Tabernacle. So, another one. So I think that would be an easy pick, Gaia's Cradle for sure. I didn't quite catch what they. Okay,
Once
so
upon a time,
seeing
Saga,
if
Cradle, and it's what creature do you want out of these? Which do you like?
Yeah, good question. The whites are irrelevant, so it's just a mana dog. And I think I would take the Birds of Paradise because technically it's not impossible for this deck to hardcast the Atraxa. It's unlikely, but it's possible, especially since we can untap the Birds of Paradise with the Quirion ranges. So it's not impossible, although I do think that Quirion Ranger got destroyed. So it honestly doesn't matter all that much, but generally, since Birds of Paradise gives any color of mana, I think that's the best choice.
All right, and then we're going to get in there. Are we getting in there for 2 points damage? And we didn't do.
Yeah, I think they attacked.
Oh yeah, so yes. I was thinking, I was like, I don't know why they're just not taking it out of combat, but we didn't get that land. We've got a crack system. Yep, bounce that back. You can have that Atraxa in your hand. Kind of, not the damage has been done, but the purpose of that Atraxa has been done now. We're going to get Life of the Loam back. We're going to dredge free. So if anyone doesn't know how dredge mechanics work, Sam's about to tell you how.
All right, so what we're going to do is Dredge 3 means that we are not going to draw a card. Instead, we're actually going to take Life from the Loam into our hand, and then we just put 3 cards from the top of the library into the graveyard. And I didn't quite... So this is Wasteland, but I don't catch that one. Will, the alternative artworks, do you see... Is that Maze of Ith?
So Maze of Ith...
Looks like Maze of Ith.
Wasteland and Beseiju. That's the Wastelands I use, actually. I love those Wastelands.
That's pretty cool. And now the game plan of Takoras is now just probably trying and wasteland the opponent every single time, just prevent them from having mana and slowly grinding our way through with these the Saga tokens. That would be my guess.
Would you hold it up though, because you know that there's a Gaia's Cradle, or are you happy just to try and get the land now as we see that is what happens is it's fired off?
I think since we also have the Beseiju and our opponent does not have any basics anymore, I like this play. Just right now, every single land that we can play that destroys opponent's land means that this is just mana destruction. So we also play, I think there's a Ghost Quarter in Rodrigo's list. And if we find that, that's just game. Let me just quickly check.
That's in the graveyard. Yeah, it's in the graveyard. We discard it to the Mox Diamond on turn 1. So it is definitely in there, and we have the ability to get it back. Yeah, we've got 9 rounds of legacy action for you today. You're joining us in round number 1. We got 304 players in our legacy main event, trying to get themselves to that top 8 to walk away with not only the cool play mats that we get exclusively, can only get at 4 season tournaments, but of course a nice sum of that cash prize as well. As we're going to go Sun Zenith for 1. Gonna go get the safekeeper, put that on the board. Not exactly the best thing we could be doing here, but you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Magic to be played today. This game isn't over. We don't have Rodrigo applying too much pressure as of yet. More kind of taking on that control role I spoke about before we kicked off today. Like, who's going to end up being in more of a control role here? It looks like Lands is able to do that, especially. I'll wind that back in as a Hodak's about to come down. The big 8/8 is legendary, so we do have a way to bounce it back with that Crackers. But I explained it. Palo's doing everything they possibly can with the hand that's being presented to apply as much pressure as they can to try and set up for that huge Crater Hoof turn if it is to come in the future.
Indeed. I doubt this is going to be good enough, though. We will bounce the Hogak. We will destroy a land. My guess is that Rodrigo's going to just... okay, they will just draw. So maybe they have the Mazavith just this being good enough. Okay, so we shall see. Now, of course, if we want to bounce the Hogak, it has protection with the Safekeeper, but I am wondering if Palo wants to do this, because keep in mind, they do not have any lands. So it might just be that Rodrigo says, sure, if you want to protect the Hogak and sacrifice a land, I'm okay with this. I'm at a 14 life currently, so I can survive one swing. So this is going to be interesting, whether or not they decide to save it.
Piffin Needle is going to come down and name the Safekeeper.
That is sweet. That's really cool. So now, of course, Paolo quickly moves into the graveyard, but it doesn't die. So now we have the option of Rodrigo, just since we've shut down the Safekeeper, that ability is not an issue anymore. So we can very freely just bounce it. I do think that the land that Rodrigo has put on the table is not played, indeed. So we had a Wasteland, get rid of the Cradle. And now it's going to be difficult. I think the Rodrigo is slowly but certainly taking control of the game. And I think we also have a token, right? That's a Saga token.
Yeah, but that's not right a token being made. So a construct that's just currently a 3/3.
4/4, because we also have a Mox.
Oh, yes, 4/4. I forgot that little Mox hiding out there. We're trying to work out how we're going to pay for our creatures here. We've got 4 creatures, so we need to pay 4 mana if we want to keep them all around. We're going to keep them all besides the Hodak. We're going to let that one go. Makes sense, because we can't keep it safe anymore. Find an Ignoble off the top of the deck. Do have that Natural Order. Do have that Atraxa. Here comes the Noble. Yeah, I think we're going right. I think the one, if there is an out in this, is the big turn of going wide of our Mana Dorks, trying to get that Natural Order, get the Crater Hoof down, and try and one-shot Rodrigo. But are they going to be able to do that? We're going to dredge.
My guess is now we are dredging, and we are going to take back the Ghost Quarter, just cut our opponent from as much mana, because Rodrigo knows what's up. They are trying to go wide. They are trying to set up a Crater Hoof. My imagination is that they will try and not let this happen. So my guess is that we target Ghost Quarter and then probably Saga to also win the game. Because as we said, these games are grindy. They get to go long, and we do need to win as soon as possible. So we'll see if Rodrigo agrees with this assessment. There we have... Oh, okay, that's Blast Zone. Even better, because we get rid of all these 1-drops. That's even better.
Look at that.
And that's going to be devastating.
Yeah, well, we get a nice little 3-for-1 if we can get that down. Don't have the mana for it this turn. That's one thing that, you know, in the lands list, they do play things like, is it Exploration? The one where you can play multiple lands in one turn?
Yes, indeed.
Don't have any of those yet, but that's one of the more explosive ways that these land decks can go. At the minute, we're just dealing on controlling the board. We're going to Ghost Quarter away that basic. I don't believe you have to shuffle. I believe it's an option to shuffle with a Ghost Quarter.
Yeah, I think so. I think Palo didn't do that. They did not shuffle. Of course, they don't know. They do not interact with the deck all that much, so they don't know what's on top, so there's no real reason to shuffle here. And I'm wondering, we need to keep some stuff alive, so we just want to keep as much Mana Dorks alive as possible, and the combination of Badgermole being able to tap for more mana is really good here. And I'm curious if you want to keep this Safekeeper. That would be, indeed, that would be my guess. It doesn't make mana, so that's the worst one in here. Are we going to get there? I think right now we can make 3 green.
So talk to me about the, we can make 3 green now currently this turn. So with the safekeeper, the only reason I can see for keeping that safekeeper around, right, is it's another body, which means one step closer to that crater hoof, being wider, big creatures, etc. Is that not the game plan right now? Is it not worth keeping that safekeeper around just to have a one generic 1/1 on the board? Is that
Yeah.
not where where we're going towards? Why are we deciding to sacrifice it?
Good question. I think the answer is if we could, we'd love to keep it around. However, we do need to mana to be able to cast Natural Order, and it's just a trade-off. We need to. Opponents had 14 life. If we have 3 creatures with Crater Hoof being 5/5 and give everything +4/+4 if it enters, that's just good enough. And I think we need to find a way to still win the game and get there, have much mana, but we're not getting there. We need to do this turn because again the basics are going to get destroyed. We're just not going to be able to do that. And we also knew about the blast zone, of course, in hand.
And they're scooping him up. And, the writing was on the wall. They're like, okay, I've done as much as I can, but you're going to start Ghost Quartering me to death, and that blast zone's going to come down. So I'm clear up all my mana dorks here. Let's just go straight to game number 2. Rodrigo, 1 game up. This is the 75 they bought this weekend. What do you like in this sideboard? What do you like bringing in?
All right, well, basically removal, that's pretty easy. We have 1 swords in the sideboard there definitely coming in. And we saw the power level of the Pithing Needle and also the Disruptor Flutes in the previous game. So I can see them coming in. But apart from that, not all that much. Crafter's Cage is also nice. It shuts down Natural Orders, the Green Sun Zenith. So I imagine those might be coming in. But apart from that, not all that much. I think the lands deck is well set up to deal with whatever opponent's going to try and do. So I would suggest not sideboarding too much, but removal spells and Grafdigger's Cage are an easy cards to play.
All right, sideboard. Is that skateboard staying in or is it going out?
Good question. I don't know. I think the game is not about winning as fast as possible, so my guess would be no. I would probably take it out, and I'd rather have, I don't know, Pithing Needle or maybe Disruptor Flute, but it's just a one-off, so we could also leave it in if we figured, if I'm going to go for it, I want to win immediately. So my guess would be no, but maybe it comes back in for game 3 if the clock is running low. That's an option.
All right, let's move across. Let's have a look at this Cradle control list. Obviously, a game down. Now need to win 2 back-to-back to get that W for the round number 1 here. What do you like in this sideboard? What are you going to bring in?
The best card for sure is Toxicrene. Maybe we can get it on screen because Toxicrene is a card that people are just playing specifically for the lands matchup. What it does is, I'm just going to go and say it like this. All lands are going to get shut down and they do add for 1 mana, but it doesn't matter. We want the abilities of the lands as the land player. So if we find Toxicrene, the land player is in a big amount of trouble. Endurance, really good. It makes sure that we get a clean graveyard and we are able to get rid of these life from the loams. Maybe Abrupt Decays to shut down. We saw how good they were. Pithing Needles, stuff like that. They can also, I could see that happening. I'm not sure if we want Thoughtseize because most of the opponent's cards are lands, so I don't think that's coming, but that would be my guess. And there's some one cards or singletons that are easy to take out. For example, Alistair Shepherd. It's never going to be relevant in this matchup. Collector Uv is okay, but they don't rely on that many artifacts. It's not bad, but it's not great. So that would be the first cards I would be looking towards to cut.
What do you think about endurance in this matchup? Obviously, we saw the graveyard utilised for both players there throughout the game. We've got access to go up to full 4 copies. Is that exactly the strategy you want to go, or do you think keeping it at 2 with a lot of different ways to tutor it is going to be enough?
I think it's going to be very good. We saw how good Life from the Loam was. Being able to infinitely bring back the best cards from the graveyard is very important. So I think we are bringing in the endurances.
All right, cool. Well, let's get down to game number 2 of match number 1 that we're bringing you here at 4Seasons this weekend. 304 players, 9 rounds of Swiss. Do not go anywhere. We are going to be sitting down getting ready for this amazing action. And we're starting off again like we did in game number 1. Birds of Paradise is going to be the first play for Pablo, passing across to Rodrigo. Going to go find up a Savannah land off that misty rainforest. And that is going to bring down a... Ooh, explanation.
Nice,
Yes,
that's a really good one. Being able to play 2 lands each turn is so impactful. And the most scary thing always from the lands player is turn 1 exploration, followed by wasteland. Wasteland your land. That's always scary. Didn't happen now, so I imagine Paolo's very happy with that. But I do see a white in there, and unfortunately we didn't get to see it in action the previous game, but that card, like I said before, is scary. So if Rodrigo can shut that one down, he will.
Well, there's explanation on your screen. Obviously, really good with things like wastelands, especially being able to recur lands from our graveyard as well. The later the game goes, so we can advance our mana while also disrupting our opponents. But this, right, as you said, is going to be able to do some problems if it does stick around, but it looks like it's going to get swords straight off the board before we even
I was about
untap
to
the
ask you, Will,
return.
help me out here. That's a Swords to
Yep,
Plowshares?
that is a swords to
Okay.
plowshares. That is again another alternate art one from another secret lair. But then at what this point in Magic, when isn't there a secret lair art of a card?
Casting so hard right now, Will.
It is. Got the Force of Vigor. So not to fire it off, I do see a crop rotation. That is going to be the Tabernacle off the top. Do you remember when
That's a
they
good one.
do you remember when Wizards was like, "Oh, we found these old boosters, like the is
Yeah,
it
yeah,
Legends
yeah.
of Tabernacle?" They're like, we're just gonna put these in some random standard sets. You might open one, and I think
That's so cool.
one of my friends opened one on his stream.
Oh,
He was
nice,
opening boosters.
nice.
He's like, "I've just opened a car on my stream. Like it's so sick."
Oh,
But
that's so cool.
Wasteland's
That
gonna
was
come
a
down.
devastating play, though. Being able to Wasteland and having the Tabernacle, that's really good. But Paolo has a Wasteland of his
Oh
own.
my
But crop
word!
rotation, this was really cool back and forth.
Every answer. You know what I mean? Like we're doing what we're trying to do, but just Rodrigo's got he's almost queued this up perfectly. He's like, oh, you're going to do that, so I'm going to do this in response. Oh, you're going to do that, cool, I'm doing that. And I love in Legacy particularly how we're able to set all these little traps and try and get your opponent to fall into them. And when they fall into them, you feel so big brain when it comes off. Here comes the Force of Vigor, ditching the Crater Hoof.
Ooh, okay, this is interesting. Sorry to interrupt you there, because
No, no.
pitching the Crater Hoof Behemoth is an interesting choice, because this clearly means that Paolo is the intention is not there to go wide. But now, well,
Question.
we have the Metal Blade. Yeah.
Question. How do
Yes.
we deal with a 2020 flying indestructible? Has he got trample as well? Like
No, it does not have trample, but
it
I mean,
doesn't.
I guess we can block it one turn with Birds of Paradise.
Let's go
That's it.
birds of paradise. We've got this.
Yeah,
The bird that
exactly.
could.
Apart from that, I don't think there's anything Paolo can do about this Metal Age token. I'm probably missing something here, but the fact that it's
I'm having a
indestructible makes it.
look.
I'm checking the deck list
Abrupt
as
decay.
well.
Abrupt decay.
Abrupt Decay, but it's
No.
indestructible.
Yep, that doesn't work. Snuff out. Nope, that doesn't work. Grist takedown. That doesn't work either. I'm pretty sure this is going to be game, but you're
I
on
think
stream.
so.
Place you out. No one's ever lost two playing, so they're out. We're going to get in there for 20 points damage though. Block. You're going to. I suppose you've got two
Yep.
turns because we're at 21.
Yeah,
Where do
exactly.
we gain a life from?
Swords.
Ah, yes, the swords. Okay, life to the loam. Get in the wasteland. Get in tabernacle.
Yeah, this is. I think this is. Yeah, the writing's on the wall here. But this is really cool. So Paolo, we see Life from the Loam. You can see Rodrigo showing what he wanted to find: Wasteland, Tabernacle, everything. And Paolo did have an endurance left, but we are empty-handed. And there we see
Yeah.
a concession.
There's the handshake. Head in the hands. Like realistically, there's nothing you could have done different in that matchup. That was just the perfect lineup for Rodrigo there. Everything matched up that you tried to do, and sometimes that's just Magic the Gathering. But what is 4Seasons Magic the Gathering is we have backup feature matches for you all, so that the action is not over. We've got two amazing players. One of them you might know in the backup feature match table, who you did a little bit of casting with towards the end of last year, maybe one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Eternal weekends of last year. How was that? How did you like it? And cue us up. Big up your partner. I know you wanted to give him a little bit of sticks. He's probably going to go watch this back.
Yeah, for sure. Iko Baronen, Andreas, real name, a master of the trade. He actually told me that he almost owns 0 real paper Magic cards because he usually plays online. So I'm sure he won Vintage yesterday, so he just borrowed a Vintage deck from friends. So that's really nice. He will be playing probably Blue Black would be my guess, because I know that's what he likes to play these days. Maybe Reanimator. We'll find out in just a second. But he's a very good player. He knows what he's doing. So I think we're in for some really cool Magic.
Yeah, well, obviously we've got the information of what decks they are going to be playing. It looks like we've got Cradle Control versus Dimir Control, and we're going to show you these deck lists now. Here's the Cradle Control. Is this list any different to the last one we saw in match one?
Yes, it is, because we actually talked about how Allosaurus Shepherd is not stock anymore, and just look at this list. It's not in here. So Allosaurus Shepherd is a choice, and this player decided that they do not need it. And also we have 2 Talon Gates of Medora. Sometimes this is just interesting because Talon Gates is a very good card, but they play 1 or 2. Do you want to play around the second one? And of course Thoughtseize Main. I really like this choice in the current meta. Well, everyone's playing Thoughtseize Main these days, so this player also decided that Thoughts is just too good not to play. But we have to find room, so we're only playing 3 Badgermole Cups, for instance. We're only playing 1 Springheart Nantuko. But generally, we also have the payoffs of an Atraxa, Hogak, and Craterhoof, which are still the same. We just have like certain flex slots that we can adjust.
Tell me why you like Thoughtseize currently in the meta.
Thoughtseizes is just so good because there's a lot of very aggressive combo decks that try to win as soon as possible. Show and Tell is seeing an uprise. We also have Oops All spells being, very prevalent, and especially Cradle Control. If game one against Oops All spells, you almost have zero chance of winning the game. And if you have Thoughtseize, at least it's a way to interact with combo decks, because this deck often just struggles against those. So that's why I like the Thoughtseize currently in the main.
All right, well, let's go and see what they're going to be up against over Andreas's side. Andreas, of course, known for playing this blue blacklist. I've actually played one of his blue blacklists before when I had to go play Legacy. I asked him, was like, just tell me what 75 I'm playing. And he sent me it. He knows exactly what he's doing. One of the biggest influence in Legacy and vintage sort of formats. The Eternal formats are his bag. This is what he's brought this weekend. Anything stand out to you? Why would he bring this to this meta this weekend?
Yes, so we are deciding not to go for the Dimir aggro route. We're going to be playing Dimir control, but it's more like a mid-range deck. And you can see that in the form of him to Turax. We don't see that very often. If you see that, it's usually a mid-range deck. So we are going to try and really destroy the hands of the opponents. We have thoughts, we have hymns, so we have a lot of way to interact with it. And we also see, very interesting here, we see snuff outs, 2 of them in the main, which is very, dedication, because right now there's a lot of black flying around. So usually we see 1 or not any of them in the sideboard, but this player decides to go for 2 snuff outs in the main, and we're just going to try and control our way to the finish line.
I'm interested in the double him and Torak. The only person I can think off the top of my head that I've seen play that in Legacy is Reduke. So it's interesting to see, maybe that's the way forward. Get a little bit of 2-for-1 action, but we've got the
I
player
guess
set
that
down
means
ready to
that
go.
if you play him, you're just a pro player. That's probably it.
Look at the flex. Have you ever had your
Yeah.
own sleeves made in your likeness?
No, unfortunately, I have not. I have
No,
not.
let's.
Maybe
I don't
one
know if
day.
this is a good or a bad thing. Maybe we should give some stick for this afterwards. But we're going to be off to the races here. We're going to see Andrea on the left of our screen on that Cradle control list going first. Going to go fetch with the Woodford Hills. Obviously, probably starting off with a Mana Dork kind of something really obvious with these decks. It plays multiple of them. I didn't have a list of how many is they actually play in the main normally. How many 1-drops they play? Free Birds Paradise, Ranger, Sylvan. Oh, okay. So no ignobles in this list that I can see. Oh yeah, there's a lie. There's 4 ignobles. So 7 Mana Dorks for turn 1 that could potentially come down here. Of course, also those 4Seasons that you spoke about.
Yeah, exactly. We have, so the Cradle control deck just always wants to make a turn 1 play. A Mana Dork, we can also Zenith for Dryad Arbor turn 1. We have the Birds of Paradise, we have the Thought Seizes. We could also play like Korean Ranges. Acceleration is the idea here.
Right, well, over on Andreas' side, had the option to Wasteland, decided against it. Not really much point if opponent's got a Mana Dork, so he's going to decide he's going to go with Thoughtseize here. So we also get to have a little look at home what we can see. I can see a Grist, I can see a Sylvan, and I think that's double right on the top of the screen, as long as that Wasteland. Going to go fetch up a basic here as well, which is kind of nice into the face of that Wasteland. So what do you like taking here and why?
I love this. Is so well played, because getting the basic means that you play around Wasteland, and we do see the Wasteland in hand, so just immediately being being rewarded for that play. The thing is, I really want to take white because it's the most scary card in the matchup, but them having 2 makes it so Thoughtsing that is just not that impactful. So my guess is Grist is probably the most impactful card on its own. However, if we have a hand filled with removal spells, we probably want to take the blank on the name there.
Keep it the right.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Right.
You probably want to take that one. So it depends on what Andreas has in the hand. If I had a lot of removal spells, I would want to take the Sylvan Safekeeper. If I did not, maybe it's just safer to take the Grist and try and just overvalue it. But the real issue here is these whites, because maybe we could also take one of them if we want to force a will the other one. So I can't really say what I would pick unless I know exactly what Andreas has in the hand, but I do know that it's not an easy pick, and you can see Andreas actually deciding to go for 1 white. So my guess is that we have counter magic for the other one. Of course, I'm guessing at this point, but that's how I would approach it.
Yeah, it's much. A lot of his removal as well. We do have some some fatal pushes if needs be in the hand. But we're going to start off with this Grist. Do have a Force of Me. That's how I'm going to pronounce it for the rest of the stream, for ladies and gentlemen. It is a Force of Me, and that is going to counter the Grist. Grist, I think, coming from legacy, from a modern player, Grist is such a an undermined card. People are like, oh, okay, cool, you're just getting a 1/1 every turn, sure, whatever. But the extra value that can generate, just having multiple 1/1s, having kill spells, and of course, on every stack, it is also an insect. Sometimes you get the double flip. I don't think there's a way to actually get a double flip in this deck. Is there any other insects floating around? Not that
Usually we
I
have
can.
Nantuko. That's the only one. There's one Nantuko, so maybe
There's
maybe we can get it, but it's unlikely.
the moment for the stream, but then we're going to go with the Orcish Bowmaster. That's going to come down to a point of damage to the Ignoble Hierarch, which is going to generate an Orc Mass token. Beautiful token at that.
Andreas knew what's up, so they knew if I take the white, right? If my opponent goes for Grist, they had the force as we called out, because they knew that I'm going to take one of the biggest threats, and I want to force. They were probably going to force either the Grist or the white, depending on what they do. And we knew we had the Bowmaster, so if we have the Mana Dork, we can just kill it. And now we are just hoping that the opponent maybe doesn't find the land, because we only saw the Wasteland. It depends, but we do have the Safekeeper.
The other option, so I've seen Andreas' hands got a Fatal Push plus Fetch Land plus Wasteland, so did have the option if the Knights come down to not force it and then just Fatal Push it in our own turn. But now that Sylvan Safekeeper, be it coming down, it will be protected. Draw for the turn, is that, I think it might have been a Murksite Regent then. So maybe a way to try and get a big threat on the board.
Nice. Didn't quite catch it. What I like is Andreas also had the Wasteland. So the idea maybe was I'm going to force will one spell, and if my opponent didn't find any lands, I can Wasteland once, I can kill the Mana Dork there. So maybe the idea was to just cut him off a mana that way.
It was a Ponder, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Ponder's blue.
Nice. So I guess we fire that one off first.
What Ponder art do you use?
I think that's
when you're playing.
Sorry?
When you're playing Legacy, what Ponder art do you use?
I have the good question. I have the there's a secret lair, of course, a secret lair, and it's like a dragon theme, like Dungeons and Dragons. There's like a dragon on there. It was like
I know which one you mean. I got the same ones. I got the same ones. Love
they are objectively the best ones.
Right, Tameo is what we found. So we kept that on top. We want to draw that one, which is pretty sweet. Now, the problem we've used both our basics. So if we do fetch up now any other lands, then they will be subject to this Wasteland on the other side. We could try and force it of our own Wasteland, but then is that really good use of our resources? We also have that Fatal Push in hand if needs be. Looks like, oh, okay. Talk to me about this line.
So we talked about it in just a while ago, where Andreas had the Wasteland. So I think the idea was I'm going to force will the next spell. I'm going to try and cut him off a mana. So we played the Bowmaster to cut the Mana Dork. We knew about being able to Wasteland the Bayou. So the game plan here is to just make it so our opponent just have nothing left. And this is why we can Fatal Push, because sure, they have the way to protect it, but if they sacrifice a land, that's fine, right? If they have 0 mana, I'm also going to win the game. So that's the idea that Andreas goes for here.
Guys, Cradle in the grip, as well as I think we pulled our, what's it called? The Spring Heart. So access the 2 mana if we want it.
Very smart here. They kept the Cradle into hand for as long as possible to just ensure that would not get wastelanded. And now this Spring Heart is going to make a lot of tokens very quickly. So possibly this Cradle can just bring us back to the game to get them as much mana as we need.
What have we got in hand? We've got a Tamio, we've got Fatal Push. Fatal Push is kind of a wasteland at this point, but depending on what Andreas wants to do with it. I do feel like we're probably favored. I'd rather be on Andreas' side at this point in the game. Going up to
I was about to say yes, but now that we find the Nantuko and the Guy's Cradle, I think we're just one National Order away from completely taking over the game if we find a Traxxas. So it is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm honestly, currently it's 50-50. That's how it feels to me. Of course, it's now Andreas' turn, so we shall see what they have.
Oh, Murktide.
Well, okay, that changes things for sure. We did find a very big threat. Was that 5 cards, 5 instant sorceries?
But four counters going. It paid the 3,
okay,
and then paid the 4 instant sorceries. Definitely need to work on getting some dice down their production. Just saying. Things to work on. If you haven't noticed, ladies and gentlemen, we are upping the stream. We have got the big boys out. We've got the big guns putting on the best possible show for you. Not just casters in the booth, but production team. Impact Returns are putting on this amazing stream that you can see of all the overlays, everyone coming out. Please, if you haven't already, follow that like button on here. Follow the support. The more support these streams get, the bigger they can get, the better viewing experience it could be for you all at home. And potentially one day, maybe you're going to go to Bologna and play in these 4 Seasons events, because they happen multiple times throughout the year. And, speak from experience, I've never been to another event where I can sit down round number 1 against my opponent and have a pint. That's exactly what I want to do as a British man.
I couldn't agree more. 4 Seasons is the best tournament series I've ever played. So I'm so excited to be able to also now do this for the stream. It's really good. Okay, this
Here
is
comes
really
Cub.
cool here.
Here comes the Cub. Gonna make that guy's Cradle in with Earthbind to a 1/1. Remember, if that dies, that means it will go back as a land. So it's kind of a nice little effect you can have with wastelands and so to speak. But
Did you catch that? I think that was really cool. Andrea was like thinking about attacking, and I think Andreas just pointed towards his own Merc card, saying, "If you attack, I'm just going to block it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, right. That's just like true gentleman playing."
He's a nice guy. He really is. If anyone's interacted with him, I know he's got a huge legacy community and vintage community in his own Discord, where they put on lots of tournaments and talk through all the different sideboards and deck lists. And a lot of people from his community actually have really good results as well going into tournaments. And I love to see that. And yesterday he was able to top the vintage. So is he going to be able to run it back today with the legacy? Can he put his money where his mouth is?
Andrea, thinking here, how can I actually win this? I think the answer is simple: having natural order. Otherwise, it's going to be scary because this Murktide is going to win very, very quickly. Don't think it's in the hand. Zenith, okay, that's cool. Now, my guess would be just fetching up Grist. Unfortunately, we only have one, so we can't get that because it's already it has been force willed. So if we do go for Zenith, I'd probably just go for white, but it is slow. I don't think we're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I remember this. Like, what have we? What? I can't see anything good. I'm literally looking
exactly,
at
exactly.
Like,
Grist is the best play, but I think if we can't play Grist, we just get white if we want to Zenith, because like you said, there's nothing really amazing.
Do you get an endurance, maybe an endurance ourselves? So if we do get another Sun Zenith, we can at least go get the Grist again.
Yeah, we may have to. Like, it does block Murktide. It survives another turn. We can pick ourselves. We can take ourselves. So maybe we can shuffle back into Grist. If we have another Zenith, that is a way to stabilize this game. But it is it's not something that we're excited about.
You say stabilize the game. And look at the life totals: 8 versus 12. That Murktide, member is a 7/7. Orcish Bowmaster and the Orcamas token, just both little 1/1s. We're going to tap. We're going to go for 2 mana. So this is a Green Suns for 1 currently. No. Force of Me is going to stop that right now. So that's 1 creature already tapped down. Nothing flying.
That was a good one. Very important for Andreas here. They just want to like attack a couple of times, win the game that way. Just slamming in here.
What was that last card draw? Didn't get a good look at what it was.
No, I didn't see
applying
it.
the pressure.
Don't think it matters all that much. We're at 1, so we are in trouble.
Is that natural order? Natural order.
Oh, I think it was.
But they don't have enough mana, right? 1, 2. So this makes 3 mana for. Oh, we do have enough.
Yeah, because is it a creature right now?
So no. So it's an extra 1 from the Cub, because it's a land. Tap for 3 lands as well. So just the Guy's Cradle by itself is 4 mana, which is going to sacrifice the Cub. Natural order. You've got to imagine this is going to be an Atraxa here.
Mm-hmm. Or we could also just go for Atraxa here. And what we can do now is, the good thing is it also has lifelink. So this does allow us to...
That's the big one.
Yeah, it is the big one. We're at 1 life. So now the best card for Andreas is just top deck, or maybe to have it in hand, to just find Bowmasters and ping for 1. That would be really cool to finish the game that way. Look.
We've also got Brazen Borer. We've got 3 more Orcish Bowmasters. We've got Snuff Outs don't work. We also do have, but I think we've got rid of 1, but a Kaito. Having a little bit of ninjutsu might help here. Playing it and being able to tap down a that Atraxa, puts some stun counters on it. Other than that, it's going to maybe be a bit hard to fight through here. Did we call this game a little bit too soon? This Atraxa, top 10 cards, 1 of each card type into our hand, as well as being a 7/7 Phyrexian life-linking, flying, vigilance, death toucher, and the general of the best play in Magic the Gathering. Fight me, chat.
Okay, this is
The
cool. We did take endurance, land, and another
natural
national
order.
order. That makes sense. Not the best hits, if I'm being honest. But then again, we were able to survive by having the national order, so I guess we can't complain.
No. That's like literally the best top deck we possibly could have got was that natural order. We've already seen two Force of Wills being used. One of them was last turn. Andreas basically empty-handed at that point. He's now going to have a little read of the Phyrexian General. Been like, that's pretty good against me. It's but it doesn't have indestructible or something. So if we do attack with the Murktide, it does have to be blocked. Life will happen, yes, but it would get it off the board and kind of reset this game state where both players would be at a medium life total without these big flyers on the board. Problem
Mhm.
is that other natural order means that we've got options next turn if we're able to cast it. Something like maybe the Crater Hoof or a Hodak seem to be the two big threats left in the deck.
Yeah, honestly, I would just go for Craterhoof and just win the game. Andreas is at 11 life. So now the question is going to be whether or not Andreas decides to attack with the Murktide, because this is a reason why you would not attack if you have like counter magic to stop the other natural order, because you do not want the opponent to have life, because you could attack to then just kill the Atraxa, but that's scary because the opponent gains so much life that I'm not sure if you come back from that, especially knowing that the order is there.
All
It
right, I
is going
think
to be
we
a difficult choice.
we've got a judge call here. So if here's a tracks on the screen for you all to have a little read. Keyboard part at the bottom, put the on the bottom of your library in a random order. I believe we shuffled our deck, or at least attempted to shuffle our deck. So these cards didn't go to the bottom, and it's also we know potentially if we watch the stream back what cards they would be. But this is why we have judges, and I think this is really important way things to kind of bring up, especially to new players watching. When you go to tournaments, slightly bigger ones than your FNMs, and judges are involved, it's not something bad. Like judges are there to help the tournament organizers go through, help the players keep the perfect game states on the board. Accidents do happen. We are all human at the end of the day. So in this instance, they call a judge. The judge will say, "This is the ruling." There will be a game warning, I imagine. I don't think this is a game loss or how it's going to be, but we'll see how it pans out. See if we can get information from our production team on what the actual outcome is going to be. But it could just be a warning. Obviously, a harmless mistake. A lot of things in Magic say, but it's the bottom, shuffle it in, etc. It's it's round number one. It's fine. A little bit of nerves
Will,
being on camera. It is what it is. Hello,
Will,
Sam.
what's your biggest on-camera pun? Because I have a lot.
My biggest, so my actual record on camera is 5-7. So I actually suck being on camera, which is why I'm on this side of the booth all the time. What's my biggest punt? I
I
don't know.
once, before the
Gone.
London Mulligan rule, I had so in the past you need to mulligan to 6, right?
Hmm.
And then you had to put one on the bottom. I don't remember the
Yes.
name of the rule, but I actually on camera once I after I mulliganed, I took 7 again, and I just watched them for like a millisecond. I didn't even see them. But back in that day, the solution was that the opponent could just see your hand and thought sees you right from the
Yep. Yep.
start. So that happened to me on camera, which was, yeah, how do I put this? Quite devastating.
I thought of my best punt. I'm going to just so we came back to the booth quickly, just so because luckily we have this amazing production team, which I've already spoke about and give a big uns up to for all you beautiful people at home. We're able to, keep these games recorded and have a slight delay. So we just skipped that judge call straight away. Get it out of here. We don't want that right now. We just want more gameplay action, and that's where we're at. So shout out to production as the Atraxa has resolved now land for turn, and then we're going to pass it back to Andreas. Did find a force of me as well. It was the third one, but didn't have the extra blue card to go with it to stop that other natural order. So that's huge. But yeah, just going to scoop up. So cannot deal with that Atraxa / natural order on the other side. Interesting there from over on Andreas' side.
Yeah,
Why
and
did we?
this was cool. This shows you just how the game is never over. One natural order, and we just stabilize immediately.
But why? Why did it? Why would he do that? Because if he just swings with our 7/7, it blocks the Atraxa gets blocked, blocks it. Yeah, they gain 7 life, but the Atraxa's off the board. Then surely there's still
Yeah,
more gameplay there.
Yeah, there's more gameplay, but I think there we saw how the timers go down, and I think Andreas knew that I'd rather just concede here and go for games 2 and 3 where I think I'm favored and I want to win those than trying to stretch out this game forever because my opponent has a bunch of 1/1s. I have 1/1s. It's going to be infinitely worse for me. I think I'm just going to lose this one, and I'd rather just keep my time free
That's
because
such an
I
experienced play, right? Like that
yeah.
shows the skill level of Andreas and his mindset, and he can read 4 or 5 turns ahead. He's like, right, it's not worth it. I think I've got a better shot in games 2 and 3. So let's have a look at these deck lists of 75. This sideboard, these are now going to be sideboarded games. What do you like in here from Cradle control side to bring in versus this blue-black control list?
So this is interesting because Snuff Out is good against the blue cards. We saw how powerful Murktide was, but I don't think we want to have too many because, well, we're playing against blue-black. So what this means is that we can't target the black spells, and I can imagine there's stuff like Baragor's coming in. So yeah, I think we want to play Snuff Outs, but I'm not sure if we want to have all three. Endurance, really powerful. Shutting down the graveyard of blue-black is more impactful than it might seem at first. And then we have like generically always good stuff like Thoughtseize, Abrupt Decays. However, we've talked about many cards and we don't want to dilute the combo all that much. So I think we will bring in some of them, but definitely not all of them.
All right, well, let's have a look at Andreas. A game down now, has to win 2 back-to-back to try and start off his day with a winning record. Of course, was able to top 8 yesterday's Vintage Challenge. So look at this deck list. What do you like at this sideboard? What are you bringing in?
For sure, the Toxic Delusions. Master removal spells against Cradle control are always good. If we can just swipe off 2 or 3 creatures, it's already worth it. So those are coming in for sure. And then Diabolic Edict, Sheoldred's Edict, sorry. Those will be another more removal spells. So I think those are going to come in. Those are definitely going to be good. And apart from that, not all that much. We could bring in the Baragors, really good in fair matchups. Maybe we want to have like Brazen Borrowers, but they are not amazing. So I think it's going to be relatively light sideboarding for Andreas here.
All right, well, let's see. Let's get down to the matchup. Game number 2 here. Round number 1, if you just join us, 304 players are going to be battling out across 9 rounds of Swiss. And we've just kicked off. So if you're here now, strap in. We're here for another 9 to 10 hours to bring you the best magic, eternal magic that we possibly can. Going to start off Andreas' side. We're going to start off with a Tamiyo. Now, talk to me about Tamiyo, how important and how much of an impact this has had in the Legacy format.
A huge impact. Tamiyo, the menace of Legacy. If you can play Tamiyo, you just do that because it's so impactful. It draws cards, it wins the game with the ultimate. But even if it doesn't, you can just attack each turn, draw a bunch of cards, get value that way. It pretty much does everything that we want, especially in combination with Brainstorm. It is really powerful because being able to flip this immediately makes it so awkward. Also, because Cradle Control has a lot of 1/1s, they really can't attack with it in a good manner, or at least it's very difficult. So, especially for the mid-range deck, very powerful to start out with.
Birds of Paradise is going to be the play here. First, we're going to get in with that Tamiyo. 0-3, so no damage is going to get done, but more importantly is that attack trigger. It is going to generate a clue token. 2 mana, sacrifice it, draw a card. So the longer the game goes, the better this is going to be for Andreas. Looking for a second land. I didn't see a second land in hand. I saw lots of ways to try and find one, though. One of them being like this Brainstorm. Draw 3, trigger the Tamiyo. That's a land, that's a Fatal Push, that's a Thoughtseize.
And this is just devastating because now what we can do is we can flip the Tamiyo. We found Fatal Push, so I imagine we're just going to kill the Birds of Paradise immediately. And then we already have a flipped Planeswalker being able to plus it to it goes to 4. So my guess is that we're just going to control the game 2 or 3 turns, ultimate with the Tamiyo, and then just win that way.
Has anyone ever lost once they've ultimated a Tamiyo?
Yes, because you can in response Bowmaster, so I'm sure it will have happened from time to
That'd
time.
be pretty cool. We're going to start
That
with
is.
the Thoughtseize here rather than the Fatal Push. Talk to me reasoning behind this.
So I think here this means that we'd rather have our opponent not have very impactful spells. We are fine with them having mana. That's okay. We can navigate it. Usually turn 2 they can't natural order or stuff like that. So I think this Thoughtseize is a good play. We just want to see the hand, and then we know what we are working with. Especially if we have, for example, a Force Will, we'd rather know which spell we definitely have to counter than just not knowing this. And potentially, what if our opponent next turn has a Thoughtseize of their own, and they do have it in hand? Maybe we don't want them to see our hand. So this is just information is key in this game. So I like this.
What would you take in this situation then? So you got option of Birds of Paradise, Green Sunstenia, Thoughtseize. I believe that's an Endurance at the back of the hand, and one I can't quite make out what it is. The second from back card.
Yeah.
Chat, help
So
me out.
based on the cards I can see,
Hodak?
is that how? I don't know. I only see the Zenith, Birds of Paradise, and Thoughtseize. I guess
it's
it
a
also.
Hodak.
Hogak? Okay, possible. I guess it also depends on the own hand. If I had master removal spells, I would probably just take the Thoughtseize because I don't want him to take it. What this signals to me, taking the Endurance, is we have something like a Murktide. It's really good. Maybe something like a Paragoyf. I just don't want my opponent to be able to get rid of my graveyard. So, especially in these matchups, it's very difficult to know one card that's always best to take because it's very dependent on what they have in the own hand. So, what this signals to me is that we want to protect the graveyard, probably meaning we protect Murktide or Baragoyf.
Find another Cradle for the turn. We're going to start off with another Bird's Paradise. Andrea says, sure, you can have that. Cradle's going to come down. Going to produce 2 mana currently because there's 2 creatures on the side for Andrea. How are we going to deal with this mana? Access to 1. Well, we played 1 bird, so we've got what? 3 mana for the turn. No black mana where we could have fort seized if we tapped the forest instead, but we're going to go for 3. Sun Zenith for 2. Andreas is going to have 4. Force of Will if he
4,
wants
right?
it.
Because we have 2 from the Cradle, 1 from the Bird's Paradise, and 1 from the Forest. So that's 4. So X is 3.
No. So the Birds of Paradise got tapped to play the Birds of Paradise.
Ah, right. Okay. So X is 2. Yeah, I was about to say White of Drelica is just always the best choice. It's so powerful. Do not let them untap with this. That's usually what I say. It's very scary. Now, Andreas has a lot of ways to get rid of this, and they knew what was up. They knew that the possibility of being a white being played was there. And what we can do is, if we really need to with Termo, we can just bring back a card from the graveyard. So what if we do not have any removal spells? We could potentially just brainstorm. Now, we know that Andreas has Fatal Push, so I'm sure they were just fine with whatever Andrea could have found here.
I think that's the key bit, like a subtle interaction for people watching, and just like kind of understanding the subtleties of things. Where Andreas then went, what's the X for? Like, you're going to go find a creature of X value. What is the X value? It's 2. My Fatal Push will be able to deal with that. If it was 3 potentially, like we're looking at sort of Grist era, maybe then we would have fired off the Force of Will in hand to stop that the search spell. I can't remember what it's called. The Green Sun Zenith. So really, again, heads up play there, knowing, okay, I've got the answer for this, so I'm going to do that. This is going to happen to do that. That's great, cool. And just showing his expert level when it comes to these Eternal formats. It's such a luxury to be able to see this. Misty Rainforest, though, as we pass the turn back to Andrea on left of our screen, now can have access to even more mana. Remember, does have a second Cradle if we want to really go big.
And the game is shaping out exactly the way we expected it to be. Andreas is just controlling the board, riding this Tamio to victory, pitching off a spell here, knowing what do I want to fight over. Your Zenith, that's okay. I have the solution for the creature that you find. I'm going to take away an Endurance because it's a 3/4. It might start attacking the Tamio. Don't want that. I do have 1 force for, I don't know, maybe you find Natural Order, maybe you find something that stops down Tamio. You never know. They sometimes play Disruptive Flutes, these lists. You never know what they might have, so Force Wood is just protection.
I was going to ask you, for 4Seasons on the other side, but would you Force of Will this, or 2 for wanting yourself, but holding information of the last card that you'd want to keep, which would be a Brazen Burrow or a Tamio, or you're happy, like Andreas is here, to just let that 4Seasons resolve? You can just 1-for-1 me. Feel free to take any one of these cards right now.
This is interesting. This is really cool. I was so to answer your question first, I think I would just let it go. If you pitch Force Will here, you don't you get rid of 1 card from the hand, and I think right now you are in a you're in the driver's seat. So I'd rather just make the opponent take 1 card, and especially with Tommy, you can just take back whatever card they get rid of. Usually, unless it's like a creature, but you don't care about that all that much. So I'm okay with this. And if you do Force Will and they have Natural Order, well, it doesn't matter because you no longer have your Force Will. So I like this play of not fighting for it. They Thoughtseize, they did take away the Brazen Borrower, so they did not care about the Force Will, which is an interesting choice. I didn't catch the card in Andrea's hand.
Well, we know it's Hodak, right? Like Andreas knows that from
Right.
the 4Seasons, so he knows. So we're going to crack first off the clue, draw a card as well as a card for turn. I think it's a Fatal Push plus land.
So that makes sense then, of course. If we have, if we are relying on the Hogak, then we do not want the opponent just being able to bounce it. And if they have the Force Will, that's 1 card extra that they have to use to get rid of it. So I really like the pickup with the Thoughtseize then.
Yeah, Tamio's about to ultimate and just like, yep, cool. Let's just go to a game 3. Let's see if I can win while I'm on the play. We do have access to their deck list, so we can have one more look as we go into game number 3 here of what's in each player's deck list. So starting off over on Andrea's side, looking at this Cradle control deck, now kind of has a bit of a an idea of how Andreas is sideboarded, is there anything else you'd be bringing in or out going into game 3 on the play?
Well, Andrea, I don't think being on the play on the draw changes all that much. Maybe we want to be a bit more aggressive, so maybe we just trim something like the abrupt decays we put in. Maybe we'd rather have another endurance if we want to do that. But I don't think there's going to be that many changes, if any.
All right, well, let's go across then and have a look at on Andreas's side on this the blue-black mid-range tempo Murktide. Call it what you want. What do you think would be bringing in or out, if anything, as we go into game number 3 now that we're on the draw?
On the draw, what you sometimes do with these decks is days on the draw is a lot worse than on the play, especially against Cradle Control. They make so much mana that on the draw I would probably trim those because we see how many mana dogs they have. It's very possible that we even cut them from game 1 moving to game 2, but if we didn't, days would probably be removed straight away. That would be my guess. But here again, I think it doesn't change all that much between games 2 and 3.
All right, cool. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get down to the match. Round number 1, game number 3, determine who's going to start off day number 2 with a winning record. Both players like the look of their opening hands, and we're off to the races. Basic Forest going into Ignoble Hierarch. Across to Andreas, finds a wasteland off the top of the deck. Going to start off with an Underground Sea into a Ponder. Look at the top 3, put them back in any order, draw a card, or we can shuffle and get a blind draw if we want to.
Currently not the most exciting hand for Andreas, I think. And I just scored a lot of cantrips currently.
I see. Oh, Borogrowth looks like it has come in, but we're going to shuffle. We don't want any of that. We're going to go for a blind draw. What sort of things are we trying to find then? So we obviously, are we looking for threats at this point, or are we looking for ways like counter magic to protect? What are we after?
Well, removal spells are always good. I think I really want to have those. And apart from that, just very strong beaters like Murktide. Baragwave is not bad, but it's not like you don't want to have it too soon because it requires to be late game bomb. And these decks, well, especially Cradle Control, doesn't put that many stuff into the graveyard, so I can see them shuffling here.
Yeah.
And apart from that, we can also have stuff like maybe finding a Force Will just to feel safe.
Look at that, look. Ignoble Hierarch beatdowns. As an Infect player yourself, we know how beautiful this feels.
And never underestimate it.
Never. It's like plan B. People think that Infect's the way to win. No. You wait till I pump the heck out of this one and get the extra bonus from the what's it called? I forgot the ability. When you attack with a creature by itself.
Exalted.
Exalted. There you go. Get the exalted triggers. We're going to go brainstorming, draw 3, pit 2 back, see a snuff out from this.
I think that's a Murktide too.
Yep, there's a Murktide in that hand. It looks like there's everything in that hand right now.
All right, so apparently a good brainstorm. Nice, the basics.
Just
basic swamp.
Yeah. This could be a natural order turn. Do we have the counter magic for it if that was to happen?
I think that's a Sheoldred's Edict there in Andreas's hand.
Yep,
is that
that's
correct?
Yep, straight out the sideboard.
Yeah, we do have. I think if we on Andreas' side, if we have the natural order, we just go for it. We can't not do it because imagine you just keep it to play around potentially days. What if your opponent then thought you? I think if you do have the natural order, you just have to try and fire it off because if it resolves, you probably win the game.
I think it's going to resolve as well. We've got double brainstorm, edicts, wastelands, but no way to stop that natural order. So if we do go for it, I think we will get rewarded.
That would be good. This is what we said. Andreas was definitely just using these cantrips to feel safe. And a way to feel safe is just find the Thoughtseize, find a Force Will. But if we fail to do so, well, who knows? Maybe this is just immediately over after natural order resolves. And Andrea keeps it on top. So if I would get to choose here, I would want to have Thoughtseize first and then fire off natural order to just be safe always. Didn't quite catch if that was a draw, but that would be, if I could pick a card, that would be the one.
The draw was another natural order. So
okay, that also works. that also works.
Backup.
Let's see. We need to sacrifice a creature for sure, and there's a concession.
A handshake. Absolutely, the hand did not line up. And look, shows it still had all these natural order into an Atraxa. Just going to be too much for Andreas to deal with. Happy to take the L here. Go a game down, but it's fine. We've got lots more Magic to be played today, and for all you beautiful people at home as well. So make sure you stick around and sit around and have a kind of watch out. But I do want to go, Sam. There's someone I want to have a little shout out before we kind of end this round, and they did a shout out at the venue itself. Okay, Gary Campbell. Huge name in the community when it comes to Europe, not just for the Eternal Magic, but he travels all over the place. He is in namesake. He is
Legend.
the oldest GP winner in Magic the Gathering. He just had some videos made about him, which went pretty viral online as well, and is one of the nicest people in Magic the Gathering. He just turned 60 years old. At 4Seasons, they had a big spiel for him, kind of gave him a lifetime pass, an invitation to 4Seasons. Not that he needed that because he would be at them anyway. He's going to be there till, till his last days. He's going to be so on Magic. He loves the community more than playing these days. He's always having fun, always great to talk to, and always one of the nicest people in it. So I want to have a huge shout out, huge happy birthday to Gary Canberra out there. Chat, get some hype in chat for Gary. I'll screenshot it. I'll send it to him as well, just to show our appreciation to him and how much of a cool member he is of the community and how he makes everything better for us. Have you got any cool stories about him, Sam? Obviously, you must have interacted with him multiple times throughout the years.
Honestly, I haven't actually faced him ever, so that's interesting. But a friend of mine played against him in when he won the Grand Prix. He
Yep.
played against a friend of mine, and he did say that it was the nicest guy he ever played
Oh,
against. So that's how Gary is.
he really is. He's such a cool bloke. Obviously, a fellow UK. He's from Scotland, but we don't hold that against him. He is really nice, but he likes to travel. That's his thing. I think at the minute he's on like a 3-week tour of Europe just because he's like, I've turned 60. I'm going to go see all my favorite places, and Italy, where 4Seasons has been held, is one of his favorite places. So huge shout out to you, Gary. Appreciate you, and the community is better because you are in it, my friend. But that is going to be the end of round number 1 here at the 4Seasons tournament. We're going to step away, have a short break, and when we come back, we're going to bring you round number 2 of 9 that we got today. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly.
Cheers.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to 4 Seasons. Day number 2, where we're bringing you legacy action all throughout the day. And good news is we've got 9 rounds for you as we enter round number 2. My name is Will Hall. That's Sam Dans. Sam, how did you find that round number 1?
Very, very cool. A lot of amazing deck lists, a lot of back and forth, which is something that we do enjoy seeing in Legacy. So I'm having a blast.
Well, we've got some more for you sat down right now in the feature match area. So let's have a little look at who we've got in there and, more importantly, what decks they are going to be battling it out with. I think we've got a little bit more of what we saw in round number 1 with lands versus, just waiting for it to load up here. Oh, actually, no, this is like a 4-color control. For being control is what this one's going to be. The 4-color Yorion. I haven't seen the Yorion in a hot moment.
No, this is really cool. So let's see which is first. Okay, so by Nicholas Holtman, another really known player. If you've played Magic and you've been to a tournament, you've seen and heard Nicholas for sure. Which is a control master. He always plays control decks, and he really loves Yorion. So this is typically a Beanstalk deck, the de facto control deck of the format right now. And what this basically wants to do is generate value off the Beanstalk. Up the Beanstalk. If you have up the Beanstalk, pretty much everything that you do with this deck generates you cards. So it is just very, very impactful. You combine this with stuff like a Quantum Riddler, which allows you to refill your hands. Interestingly enough, there is no I'm blank on Ophelia in here, which is a card that you very often see in combination with the Quantum Riddlers. But we do have a Subtlety in there. No, is it Subtlety? No, it's the new Evoke creature. I'm
Oh,
doing
yeah.
Wistfulness. That's the one, and that's really cool because you get to draw and discard if you want, or you can also get rid of an artifact or an enchantment. So I really like this. Playing 2 of them, so they are worth it. So a lot of cool new additions in this one. This is going to be a very, very interesting match, and this deck wants to go very late. So maybe we're in for a clog fest again.
This also plays my favorite card in Legacy, Uro. Love an
Ah,
Uro. But
yes,
let's see
yes.
how it pans out as they're going to be going up against on the other side. I believe it's lands, which we saw round number 1. Let's go have a look at the deck list and what they're going to have and what build they've got. More importantly, what I want to just point out is they've got the Lava Spa boots, not the skateboard. So kind of gone, the original version. Is there anything else sticking out to you in this deck list?
Yeah, Vibrance. You can see it. We are seeing the new elementals from the new Lorwyn set popping up here and there. So it's interesting that we see in both of these decks having them. And Vibrance is basically just a way for this deck to get rid of, like, it's an included board wipe, depending on what you're playing against. So I think it's really cool to play this as an addition. You do have to play red in some way. So you can see this. We are playing Gru lands. We also have the Pyroblast in the sideboard, the Unholy Heats. So if we are going to play red, we're going to use it to just get rid of stuff that we don't care about. And we also have Minskin Boost, so that's really cool. This is 2 decks that we don't see all that often, so I'm excited for this. And, well, we will not see Skateboard this turn, that's or this game, that's for sure.
You're going to say we don't see lands too often, but we're seeing it round number 1, round
Yeah,
number 2.
exactly,
Let's see if we
exactly.
can get rounds like every single round today, because we got 9 rounds for you all. If you're ready, chat, I'm ready. Let's get down to our feature match, round number 2 here at 4 Season Tournaments. There's a look at the players. Beautiful production brought to you, of course, by the Impact Return lads. If you're enjoying this, please go give them a follow. All the support is appreciated for not only this channel, but themselves. The more followers, the more sponsors, the better the production can be. As we're kicking off here over on Mikkel's side on the right of us, going to go into a Surveil land, into that Mox Diamond, ditching the big, what's the card called that turns into the 4/4? I can't remember off the top of my head. It turns into 2020, sorry.
That makes the Lage token.
Lage token, that's the one. I was like,
What I do expect
brain
is that
fog.
this matchup will, just sorry to interrupt you, Will. This matchup
No,
will
you're good.
last forever. That's just, that has been my experience. Control against lands can sometimes just last forever. So we may see these players as the match goes on start playing faster and faster. That's my expectation. As soon as they know what they're up against, because maybe they don't know that yet, we might just see that happening where they will just start throwing stuff around. It happens. I think
Dark
by the way,
Depths.
Dark Depths. Yeah, that's the one you were talking
That's
about.
the one I was like, what the heck is that card? It is a Dark Depths. Basic Forest. 3 mana available. We're going to play the explanation. Of course, we saw that in our first match and how good that can be to play the extra lands, but nothing to do with our mana. So just going to pass the turn back after playing our 3rd land drop for the game.
This is interesting because my guess is that Michele just found the exploration from the top because I would always play this turn one. So them deciding not to, that to me that says that we just drew it.
Yeah, same. And that's like kind of a good read as well. You can get here. Over on the other side, we're going to play the it's a command, isn't it? It's the Witherbloom
Yeah,
command.
with the bloom
Two
command,
options. Which two
indeed.
options do you think you're going to end up using here?
Very good question. At this point, there's not all that much that we care about, so I think we definitely just mill because we want to fill the graveyard with some stuff. Apart from that, yeah, maybe just make the opponent lose some life.
Well,
We can't,
we got the
we can't.
expedition off the board, so that's definitely one of the modes we're using.
Oh, right, okay, for sure. Yeah, I forgot about the exploration for a second. We definitely want to get rid of that for sure. And then I think Nicholas milled.
Yeah, milled,
Yeah, you can
return
see
a
that.
land.
There
Of
we
course,
go.
being four color, we've got to make sure we hit our land drops. We need not basically every source but black, is it, that we don't use? No, every source but red we don't use.
So right now, I think for Michele, this exploration being destroyed is not that big of a deal. Don't get me wrong, we'd rather have it, but if we don't have it, if we don't have it turn one, the later you draw it, the less impactful it is. So my guess is that he's like, okay, this is I'd rather not have this happening, but it's really not the end of the world. And Urza Saga is one of the more scary cards for control decks to play against because it generates so much cards. And if we want to go one for one with the Urza Saga, that is just not a thing that works very well.
And the turn crop rotation is going to go find that saga I was just speaking about. Another crop rotation is what we found for the turn. As the saga is going to go up to 2, so we can start generating those tokens if needs be.
And that's important because what we can do, and this is a really cool interaction, once the Urza Saga goes to like the third chapter, you can still crop rotate it away and get a new Urza Saga, which is something that lands decks very often do. Just get creatures every single turn and make the control player just have removal after removal spell. So we may see that happening.
Well, we played Dark Depths for our land for the turn, and our last card in hand is a crop rotation, so we might even see a 2020 coming out. But going up against these control decks, obviously that can get answered quite easily with cards like, Solitudes, Paths, wrong, Swords to Plowshares, and even just a bounce from something like a Teferi Free.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a real reason not to actually go for the Merit Lage token, even though you can. Sometimes it's just better to go for the Urza Saga route. Now, of course, if Nicholas does tap out, which they are doing, then my guess is just go for the crop rotation, make him have the Solitude, which very often these decks do not play, and if they do play it, fair enough, and it's not a 4 of. So my guess now, if they tap out, just try and do this now. I would do it in response to them playing the Up the Beanstalk, so they do not draw a Force Will. Didn't quite catch if it's on the stack now or not, but my guess is yes.
So we are going to look. Something's definitely happening. It might be on the stack, as you were saying.
Yeah, indeed. Very smart, very good play. Do not give them the option to draw another card. Not give them the option to draw a Force Will. So that just works.
But we can't activate it this turn.
Doesn't look like it, no.
We would decide to go for a token here over the 2020. Talk to me about the reasoning behind that. What's the thought process?
Well, we can have is next turn, even though we can't activate it now, next turn, since we do not have, well, what we can do is we can get the Lava Spur boots off of the Urza Saga, and we can just give it haste that way. So we don't need to do this immediately. Unfortunately, they do not have skateboard, so we will not see the skateboard, but haste is the real thing here.
I'd be really interested to see if it was skateboard, if that would actually be the the game changer in this.
Yeah,
Saga's going
and
to go up
here
for
in
free.
this situation, the Lava boots giving ward is relevant because if we want a Solitude, we do need to do it in response because if we miss that, even the Solitude doesn't work because the ward would stop that from resolving. It's a small detail, but it is cool, and you can see concession.
We did have the swords in hand as well, but tapping out there means that we can give that the 2020 +1 ward 1, but more importantly haste, and that's going to be enough to take down game number 1 here. Very fast here from Gruul Lands. But let's have a look at the deck lists. Let's have a little look at potentially what could be coming in to shore this up. We're going to go starting off on the 4-color control side. Obviously, a game down, needs to win 2 back-to-back now. Anything in the sideboard you like bringing in?
Well, Ratha's guys for sure. We are very afraid of the artifacts from the lands deck. We have the Lava Spur boots, we have the expedition maps, especially the Urza sagas, but because we can get rid of them that way. That's the best one. Apart from that, like not too many great stuff. We have endurance, so I think I would bring that in. We also have Clarion Conqueror. It's not bad. It's not like insanely powerful or anything, but it is very good. So I think those are the cards I'm looking towards, but apart from that, not all that much. Consigned to memory is an option. I'm just not sure if it's worth it because it's also, it's very narrow in this matchup. So we may see some, relatively soft sideboarding, if I can say it like that. And generally, what I like to do when I'm playing control deck is board out some number of counter magic, because against lands they just need lands to function, and we'd rather have answers towards what they're going to try and do than try and stop, for example, a crop rotation or stuff like that. If we can, we'd rather just Wrath of the Skies, or we want to shut down the ability of them making the Merit Lage token, for instance.
I want to. We'll talk about the sideboard and the potential of what we can hit after we look at the other side on this lands. One game up, needs to take down the second game to get a nice 2-0 record kicking off this weekend. What do you like at this sideboard?
So, interestingly enough, I don't think that Nicholas currently knows that he's playing against Grew lands. I don't think they've revealed red. If I'm correct, I could be wrong about this, but that is important because when I said that you don't see land as much, I should have specified that I mean Gruul land specifically, because splashing the red is not something that you always do. And if you do splash red, you want to hide this, especially against a control deck. So the fact that they have Pyroblast, Red Blots in the sideboard, and also the opponent not knowing about this is very important and can be a real blowout when Nicholas feels safe and just fires off some blue cards. So definitely bring in the blasts, and Minsk and Boo is another powerhouse. If that resolves against a control deck, they are in trouble. Now Nicholas does have a way to clean answer to get rid of it with the enchantment, so at least they have outs for that. And apart from that, there's not all that much that I like. Maybe Disrupt the Flute. Vela Summer is also okay, but not as impactful as it might seem. But having one is fine. So that's what I would do.
All right. Well, they do know about the red source. Obviously, the tiger was what they played game number one, so they
Ah,
know
right.
there's a red
Okay,
source
I missed
for,
that. Yeah.
floating around. But both players drawing their own in hands. And I want to talk to you about this 4-color Yorion deck. Obviously, Yorion, Companion, banned in Modern. Maybe you should have 80 cards in your main deck. But you could also do that anyway, but that's a whole different argument. But trying to find those key cards in certain matchups is a lot harder, right? Like it's not got you're going to draw 7 out of 60, you're drawing 7 out of 80 now. So kind of diluting that. How important is your mulligan decisions with these 4-color control decks, especially going into game 2 when you know what you're against?
Fortunately, this deck is very good at finding the stuff that they need. They have Rakshas's Bargain to find stuff. Up the Beanstalk draws a million cards. They can refill with Quantum Riddlers. So they do have a lot of ways to draw more cards. But you're right. Sometimes, if you have 80 cards, you will not find the stuff that you need, even though you're playing 4. That is a real thing. But we can see them, playing stuff with also in the form of wistfulness to just dig through the deck a bit more. And if we do get Up the Beanstalk going in combination with all of these expensive stuff, we can just draw whatever we want.
Okay, they've got me. I have no idea what that land is that just went to that graveyard then. Chat, help me
Um,
out. That is definitely an alternate art, secret lair. You can't bend it, something, but I don't know what that one is.
I mean, I'm relying on you for the alternative
I'm
arts.
about to say, normally I'm all over it, but that one there really is. I'm trying to look at the list to see what it is. Is it maybe Maze of If? Chat's telling me. Thank you, chat. See,
Is it
that's what.
Maze of Ith?
Yeah,
Okay.
chat knows everything. Even when they don't know anything, they know
There we
everything.
go. It makes sense that we pitched this because it's not all that impactful. Nicholas is not going to win this game very often by just attacking with 1 or 2 creatures. They will just create inevitability. But being able to start turn 2 with Up the Beanstalk is really nice.
We're gonna go and find. I love crop rotation. How many times have you done like a crop rotation, end of turn, get your ink moth, untap, win? Yeah, don't think we're gonna see it
Well,
right now, but
I
we would love
mean,
to see it.
too much to count. I've won so many games. Even the one that I just talked about, where I had to mulligan to 6 with my opponent thought seizing me. I won that one still after end of turn crop rotation at a certain point. So that was pretty cool. This is also something very funny that Nicholas always does. Lands in front. He is a big fan of that.
He is a productions nightmare. It's fine though. It is what it is. We'll try and change that moving forward. But just to kind of keep things, on par. So everyone's aware what's going on. If they didn't know about the Red Elemental Blast, they do now know. Put one of these into the hand. We're going to go for the Sage. These three are
Cool.
going to go to the bin. A 0/1 Eldrazi spawn token is also going to get generated. There it
This is
is.
also such a good addition. In the beginning, it took a while for this card to catch on in lands, but we see that we can just see so many cards in lands with the Rumble, and we don't have a lot of other ways to actually filter through the deck. So I really love the addition of Rumble.
All right, so we went exploration, then we played the an extra land. We've got another exploration in hand. If we play 2 of them, am I able to play 2 extra lands a turn? Do they
I think
stack?
so. Yes, I think so.
Oh, we interesting. Clues. We're going to go play another up the beanstalk. So that's double on the board now. So
And this is
everything.
scary.
Yeah,
This
this is
will
where
run
we
out of,
turn and burn,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Also, a combination of the Tamio. I guess the game plan is going to be the same. We're going to flip it at a certain point and just protect it and win the game that way.
Life for the Loam is what
Okay.
we're going to use from Dredge. So Dredge, of course, we're going to put 3 cards into our graveyard and draw this card from our graveyard instead of drawing a card for the turn.
Okay, and this is really cool because now, Life from the Loam, getting back the Urza Sagas tokens is probably the most scary thing for Nicholas to see. So this is, what we need to play around. We need to get rid of it in some way, because if we can infinitely do this, even though Nicholas draws a million cards, it's still going to be difficult. So we need to find a way to get rid of that spell. Sorry, that
So
land.
here comes Ghost Quarter. So the Ghost Quarter kind of a turn is going to happen now. Now let's have a little basic land count. How many basic lands do we play in this list? I see 1 island, 1 plains. That is it. So potentially we can start just, wastelanding / ghost courting our opponent out of the game the longer it goes. And of course, they want it to go long, being a control deck. Rumble, top 3. You're going to see a spur, a couple of lands, and the new creature from Lauren.
The Vibrance.
I need to learn the name of them. I feel like they're really good. I feel like
Yeah.
they are shining right now, but I think more players are more testing them, testing the waters, seeing if it is playable or not. Because the only real data I guess we get from things like these eternal formats, Legacy and Vintage, is from Magic Online. These events that we held in Italy with 4Seasons and a few others, they really established the paper meta going forward for players that are playing in these tournaments all across the world. So kind of making the meta as they go along. So it's interesting to see what cards people are trying out, and then if it sticks, and if in the next tournament we see more of them played, if it now becomes stock in lands lists, etc.
Yeah, Vibrance is really good because it both deals damage and searches up a land, so that's really strong, especially in the lands deck, because combining a way to both search up lands and have removal spells is something that we didn't really have before. So this is why Michele decides to go for the Vibrance into the main deck.
Yeah, see how we want to go about this land for the turn. So maybe this land destruction plan isn't going to happen just yet, at least not to the effect of it we want. Yep, it's getting tapped for green because of the
Yavimaya. Yep.
That's it, Yavimaya.
Nice.
Like, I was
And
going to
there we
say
have another one,
Yargroth.
Wistfulness. So we are playing Wistfulness. That's the other Evoke Elemental from Lorwyn. So both of them here. That's that's really funny. So we decide. I think it's draw 2 and then discard 1, or is it discard 2? I'm not sure. We'll find out in a second.
The draw 2 was from the beans, because this is a 5-drop card.
Right.
Yes, because we're
Sure.
evoking it. The beans lets us draw 2. Then this comes down evoked. I imagine it's for double green or double blue. Was it? No, it would be
Yeah.
double green.
Double
So then we get
green.
rid of the explanation. Yeah, this is
Okay.
a
That's pretty
great
good.
turn.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Really showing its power level, the Wistfulness.
Then
And the
the
fact that you can
Withercomb.
just hardcast it later, do both is really, really strong.
There is on the screen for everyone at home. Of course, this was in the, I believe this was in the PT winning list from Chris Larson. I think he had a couple copies of this and the blue black one, I think. Don't ask me the name of that one yet, just yet.
The Seat, I think, is the one.
All over this, Sam. I love it.
I love the elementals. I really do. All right. So at least one thing that's really good, because we are seeing the grind. Game number 1 was very fast, which is something that, at least if we have to say something positive for Nicholas, at least he's going to be able to play games 2 and 3 relatively safely. If we do go to game 3, that is, because that was over very quickly. But you can see the clock ticking down, and they are playing very, very fast, both of them.
Well, you definitely need to. If you're playing control decks, all these grinding matchups, being a game up is going to be huge already. So you can kind of take your time. But if it looks like you're losing, you might have to just kind of use that discipline, know when the game is done, scoop it up and try and get that game free in. But if you're, Nick on the left of your screen does not have that option, has to win this game, has to win game number 3, but does not have great options to be able to kind of apply that pressure early. First, we're going to try and win the boat, the board, and then try and move forward with some of our bigger threats. Things potentially like Uro would be a great way of trying to fight through this, as well as I guess Riddlers is a big threat as well.
Yeah, Riddler for sure. We can also, if we make it too late, we can start hardcasting Solitudes if we kept them in. We can hardcast Wistfulness. We can hardcast, well, pretty much every threat that's big that we have. And we draw, when we do that, 1,000,000 cards. So once the game does go long enough and Nicholas still has access to a lot of mana, then I think it does start swinging towards their way. However, of course, Michele with the other sagas being able to infinitely make these tokens is going to be scary. Is Nicholas going to get there? They do play one dress down. That's going to be good. And we do have the Wrath of the Skies, though. So it really depends on the card quality here. Whoever finds, you have certain cards that are really, really impactful and can be a blowout at a certain point.
Comes this element. They're really getting the elementals. They heard you when you said I like the elementals. They're like, all right, well, we'll just keep playing them. How's that for you?
Yeah, it works for me. I do like it.
Now, what side are we doing on this? Is this we're doing the search for a land, search for a land, put it into your hand.
Mhm.
So it looks like we're essentially trying to threaten the combo at some point in this game. So another thing that Nick's going to have to kind of have on the back of his mind.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I think Michele is, you can see there on the left side for Michele is, I think, Michele's hand. So double Saga, and they also have the token generator. So they are setting up, they're going to be playing the long game. They're just going to, yeah, I'm just going to present both a wide board with threats and the combo at a certain point. And if you can combine these two, maybe you can set up a turn where Nicholas just needs to have everything.
This is going to be Uro turn. Let's go. Will's favorite card in Legacy. So we're going to draw a card, gain 3 life, and have the option to play another land drop if needs be. So it's going blue off this, green off this, green off this.
Really cool. Now, of course, we can't wait too long in Michele's shoes because we do have the ultimate of Tamio, and if that does ultimate, then I think it's just game over. So we may just have to try and go for the combo a lot sooner than we'd like to, because otherwise we're just going to be dead.
And another Uro. Okay. So something like a crop rotation here into a Bazooka Bug could be a bit backbreaking because that would get rid of 2 of our bigger threats in the deck, especially ways to close out this game. Which art do you like of Uro better? Do you like that one that we just saw on the screen, or do you like the OG art of that like massive face coming out of the sky?
Good question. Ours is also difficult. I like a big face in the sky, don't you?
Yeah, I think I use that art, but like the full bordered art ones, whatever. Where you don't have the border. I think that's what borderless. That's the word I'm looking for. What even is that from the sky? Does anyone know what's the lore behind Uro?
I honestly don't know. I am not too big into magic lore, if I'm being honest. So I don't
Do you know
know.
who will know? One of our casters later, Mason Clark, will know exactly the lore. Nix. He's literally the designer of Flage. So he did tell me about there's this lore to do with this Titan, this lore for this Titan, but there isn't a card for this Titan. That's how Flage became about. But it's going to be interesting. He definitely knows. I'll see if I can cue him up later on. So chat, you can all find out as well as me. What's the lore behind Uro?
I do like it when people know this.
I do. I like it when people go out of their way to kind of, it's one step further than the magic, right? It's understanding why that card is a card and does it act how it would act if it was a card, and knowing that the play designer doing their job when it comes to that. But over on the other side, exploration is going to come down. This is going to mean we can play 2 lands for the turn, which one of them is going to be a saga, one of them is going to be the Dark Depths. So now threat of turning that into a 2020 has got to be on the radar for Nick and left of our screens. Going to need an answer. Do see his swords in hand, so that is going to be covered.
I think we're going to try and set up a turn where we can make a token and maybe also just immediately get away to give it haste and ward, or we could just try and go for it now. It's not getting better the longer this game goes on. I do think that Nicholas is just slowly taking control of the game. That's how it feels to me currently.
I haven't even mentioned about all these beautiful black bordered jewels, by the way.
Yeah, beautiful.
So we are going to bring an Uro back from the graveyard. So I know it's been a long time. Maybe you're coming from Modern and you're just looking into Legacy for a little bit and you haven't seen this card in a hot moment. But for 2 green, 2 blue, Escape 6, is it, I believe? Or Escape 5.
I think 5, yeah.
get it back from the graveyard to play 6/6, win at ETBs or attacks. You can gain free life, draw a card, and can play an additional land for the turn. Wasteland is huge here. So
Yeah.
kind of in the face of that, the ability to turn that into a 20/20 with the Dark Depths, we could just get it out of here straight away.
Currently, with this board state, it's almost difficult to know who is the lands
Ooh.
player here. It's
Oh, are we sure? What we're doing this now? Oh, we're forcing the action. So then, when the
yeah,
20/20 is made, we can then use our swords to deal with it.
yeah. Nicholas knows that probably Michele will make a token in response, but maybe if we're getting really clever, we can just say fine. And I'm actually gonna copy an Urza Saga instead. That's a possibility. It doesn't really do all that much, but sometimes, or you can just also maybe copy a basic if you want to do that. It's possible, but Michele decides not to do it.
Yeah, I was about to say, obviously, my opponent knows that that's a terrible idea for me to have a 20/20. They must have an answer. Why
Yeah.
would I sacrifice 2 of my lands for this? I might as well keep it here. So potentially, if I draw any further ones in the future, as in Thespian stages, then I'll still have the target for it instead of having to get 2 common pieces. I just need the one.
Exactly. Okay, and I think
Forces.
we are seeing Nicholas just taking control. We have the Quantum Riddler drawing 2 off of the beans, then drawing a card off of itself. We have everything that we need here. So I don't think the Thoughtseize, was there anything left in hand for Michele?
They just took the Mox Diamond as I think it was
Okay.
just 2 lands, Saga and something else. At what point do you know the nail? The nails in the coffin, and you scoop it up going to game 3 because there's only 26 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, I was about to say that I think it's time. Technically, it's not game over, and 26 minutes, especially for this matchup. We saw how long it can go, but if we have 25 minutes, that's much more than we usually have for a game 3. So maybe Mikhail is like, yeah, I'm just gonna give it 1 or 2 extra draws, see if I can't get him with the Urza Saga, and then I imagine we're just gonna scoop it up.
I
But
guess
I think it's happening now.
yeah, we're just picking it up. The nails in the coffin at this point. You've got your threat on the board. You've got established a large hand. You've stopped what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to scoop out. Let's go to a game 3 and let's see potentially I can try and get another fast win like I did in game number 1 as they level it up. So that means we get to have a look at the deck list one more time before we get into game number 3 here. Here's the control list. Obviously, now we've leveled it up. We're going into game 3. We're going to be on the draw this time. Is there anything play draw dependent?
I don't think so, honestly. In this matchup, the games will go very long anyway. So usually, being on the play on the draw does not have all of that much difference. Unless, of course, if you're the lands player, you can sometimes have the extremely explosive turn 1, well, or maybe turn 2, where you go for the token. But otherwise, I don't think we will see that many changes.
Well, let's have a look at that lands list one more time. We saw that the red elemental blast came in. Anything else you like here? Now we're going to be on the play. Maybe we can't drag it into the mid to late game. Maybe we have to rely on that early combo turn. Is there something that we can change up to potentially get us across that line?
Yeah, potentially. If we want to, it all depends on the time. But now that we have time, imagine if we didn't have a lot of time and we just want to win as soon as possible. Maybe if we bring in Force of Vigors on the draw, we take them out when we're on the play because we just sort of win as soon as possible. But again, I don't think that's a line that we want to take here. So I think we're just gonna keep it out the way as it is and rely on these Red Blast and Power Blast to just get us through the finish line and maybe get in a Minsk and Boo.
All right, well, let's get down to the matchup then. Let's see who's going to be able to take this down. Round number 2 here at 4 Season tournaments. Both players 1 apiece, trying to get this W so they can start off 2-0. We've got 9 rounds of Swiss today for everyone tuning in. 304 players turned up for round number 1, battling out, trying to get themselves to that top 8 where all the prizes are, those cool play mats and those cash prizes. Just a little surveil, like that card, leave it on top. On the other side, we're going to play a Tamir turn 1. I think it was a Mox Diamond we left on top. And that is what we're going to start off our turn 2 with. Going to discard a basic forest. Land drop for the turn is going to be a Ghost Quarter. Going to change that into a basic. I feel like we probably want a Wasteland there realistically, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. I mean, Nicholas, they are playing 4-color, right? So they do rely on their jewels a lot. So being able to just make them a bit more awkward mana, having them have that, it's good. Also, who knows? Maybe we have Loam, and we can just bring back the Ghost Quarters infinitely. This might just be a lock if we do drag it out very long.
Well, we do have Lomans on the stack, seeing if it resolves. 2 targets in the bin. We're going to brainstorm first. Talk to me. Oh yeah, I was about to say, talk to me about this sequencing here, but it makes sense to get rid of the land because then coming
I
back
think you
quite.
just search for force negation. If you find force negation and you can actually exile the life under them, that's very impactful. And you want to flip Tamio anyway. You'd rather also draw a card first, being able to attack with it. But I think this is I like this because it's so impactful, the life from the loam, that if you can force a negation it, you do want to find it and just play it.
All right, well, it's going to resolve. Tamio is going to flip. We're going to pass the turn back. Of course, we know what cards are on top. We have that. It looks like a beans on top. Fetch. We can go fetch up and get a green source, but we've got to know that potentially we could end up getting, more ghost quarters are going to be in our future. We are going to play the beans though. Go another card depot. Like, shuffle away that last card that we knew what it was.
And I really like just deliberately just fetching up a jewel here, because you know that if the opponent had the wasteland, they probably would have done it last turn, so it's very good. And if they now do decide to Ghost Quarter the jewel, then at least you don't want to get any basics out of the deck right now.
Only 2 basics in the list total. Anyway, that's going to be a ponder off the beanstalk. Pass the turn back. Are we going to dredge? Are we going to draw? It looks like we're going to just draw. Think it paid off. I think we got an explanation there. Definitely a green card. Might be a force. Looking at it. Do we have any forces in the deck? Yeah, Force of Vigor.
Also
Could be that
figure
as well.
maybe. Yeah,
Don't have
didn't
another
quite
green
catch
card to
it.
go with it, though.
Okay, so this is interesting. So we decide not to go for the Ghost Quarter plan. That's really telling something. Right now, we have the option of playing play an Endurance if we do have it. To me, if I was in Nicholas's side, this is really telling, right? Because my opponent, they know about them having Ghost Quarter and they deliberately decide not to do that. What does that tell you? And it could be a lot, but also showing them that we have three mana screams Endurance to me. But this is the
Ooh.
thing, you can't really know. Maybe they have crop rotation, stuff like that.
They found the Force of Negation and a Force of Will.
Yeah, that's really
So
good.
if that Life of the Loam was to come back in the future, potentially we can get it out there, get it exiled. We're going to go Surveilling. Talk about Surveil lands and how much of an impact they're having in Legacy. Is it as much as we see in Modern?
Yeah, massively. I'm not gonna lie, I did not catch on immediately myself. I was like, yeah, Surveillance, cute. I'm not sure if it's gonna be good enough, and I think that's what a lot of people thought in the past. But it has been massive. Every deck that can play a Surveillance does, because it's so impactful. It's almost better than Ponder at certain points.
And how many do you think is the right number to play in Legacy in your decks?
Yeah, good question, because it depends on the deck. If you're a very aggressive deck, maybe even 0, because you don't want to have a tapped land. Control decks 2 to 3 sometimes even, but usually 1 or 2 is what we see very often.
Here comes Dark Depths for our land for the turn. Then we're going to go Disrupt to Flute while the shields are quote unquote down. Going to name Tamio. We had the option to counter it. We do have Force of Will, Force of Negation, so we didn't want to, fire one of those off for the Tamio. Tamio is more of an annoyance than a key win condition for us. 3 mana.
I do
After
think this is
playing,
interesting because since Tamio is already at 6 counters, being able to counter it was very important. It might just be possible that Nicholas has removal for it and doesn't really care, or they could also heavily be respecting that the opponent has life from the loam. You can see the respect is real here because Tamio at this point is our win con. If we can ultimate it, it's probably game over. So us not using the Force to Will is it's telling we're up to something.
2 unknown cards in the hand. I think one of them is that Force of Vigor. Are we now going to Ghost Quarter for the turn?
Looks
Lots of
like
options.
yeah, this is not easy.
Going to play the Evermind. Make everything is going to be able to tap for green now. And just pass the turn back. We're going to go fetch.
And this is also interesting because Nicholas does decide to fetch. I was wondering about this because now we have the Yavimaya. Since everything is also green, we can abuse this. And we did see that happening a lot last game where Nicholas very, very often used the ability of the Yavimaya to not use the fetch lands, but now decides deliberately to do that. And here we go, another Surveil land. We just want to find certain cards to win that way. So we are still looking for very specific solutions to certain things that we're afraid of, instead of not using our fetch land to keep it for using the green mana for the Yavimaya.
Got 3 Surveil lands in the deck. We like that card on top though, so we're going to keep it there. Draw for the turn. It was, I think it was blue. It didn't quite get a good. Was it swords?
I don't know. I didn't catch it.
I'm
Is
gonna
that
go
Wrath of
swords.
the Skies in hand?
Mm, yes.
There we go. Yes, Wrath of the Skies. Now this is interesting because if we are going to pay Access 2, if I'm correct, we do hit our own. Yes, there we go. We do hit our own beans. So again, an interesting choice. We decide that it's worth getting rid of both the Disruptor Flute and the Mox Diamond, but also as collateral damage, take our own beans with it. So that means we just want to go for Tamio win.
Is this a bait though? Is this like, oh no, my shields are going to be down. You're going to be able to 2020 me end of turn. Oh no. Is it a bait, or are we just trying to work it so that we can get our Tamio back online? Are we past the point where we think beans is actually relevant? Like what's the thought process here?
Yeah, I think it's just we probably have Solitude in hand. Otherwise, you wouldn't do this.
Oh, we
So
definitely have it.
So now it's up to Michele. Do they? Yeah, I think they just have to try, right? Because otherwise, yeah, there we go. We did have the Solitude. Um, I think it was both of Nicholas. It was both, catch or a bit of an way
Catch
to.
22.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn if you do,
So
damn if you don't sort of situation.
yeah, exactly. Because we now not only to get rid of everything, we also plus the Tamio and we have the Solitude. So whatever you do, I'm actually fine with it. By the way, I have five different force effects in my hand. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We
It's
have
also
this
gonna be
locked.
it's gonna be one of those when you're like, okay, yeah, cool, but we'll just grind it out a little bit more. I've got this life for the loam. I don't think you're gonna like the answer when that life for the loam gets cast
Yeah, exactly.
either.
It really doesn't matter what you do. I have a solution.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a masterclass here from Nicholas. Obviously, lost that game one to a nice, early 2020 with haste, but game two and game three is absolutely navigated perfectly. Not saying that Michelle on the right of our screens actually had an explosive draw at all. Hasn't also seen any wastelands going forward. Now, Force of Negation is going to take out the life, exiling it, which is key. We're going to use an Euro as our blue card from hand to make that happen. Still got a land drop for the turn. Which ones are we going to play? Is it going to be that basic forest that Nicholas knows about, or is it going to be another unknown? It's going to be. Well, I suppose they knew about the ghost that did come back with the life alone when we did get to cast it. It's going to target the basic island, which means we've only got one basic left in the deck. It's going to be a basic plains,
Yeah,
and
Michele.
we're just going to shuffle it out. We're like, okay, cool. Yeah, you've got me. I
Mhm.
can't get back from this. You're going to be able to pull ahead, and I like that. Just knowing when you beat. I'm going to go get a drink. I'm going to go chill out until the next round because this round's gone already pretty long. So on that one, we're going to come back to the booth while we turn around. And of course, we have backup feature matches for all you beautiful people at home as well, because this is not only 4Seasons, one of the best tournament organizers in Europe, maybe even the world, but they're up in their stream. They're trying to up this production to make it so it's better for all you at home to enjoy on how good these tournaments are. And by doing that, we've got the Impact Return lads in. They're doing all the stream, all the background stuff that you can see, recording the feature matches, getting them on, getting the graphics. So again, huge shout out to them. Sam, I've got a question for you. If you were playing
Yeah.
this weekend, if you were in Italy battling out in Legacy, what deck would you be playing? Please tell me it's Infect.
Yeah, good question. Honestly, I'm not sure at this point. I have updated my infect list, and I think it's really good. But after playing it on my stream, I played Jeskai Wizards, and I was just so surprised how powerful it is. With just everyone playing fair decks these days, we have the Dimir Tempo deck, we have the Boros Energy deck, we have the Blue Red Delver deck coming back,
Yeah.
and especially in Paper Magic, everyone likes to play fair. So I might just play Jeskai Wizards, also because people expect me to play infect, and especially that can be very good because they keep 6 removal spells in one land in
Yep.
hand, and I start out with basic islands. So I honestly one of the two.
We've been there many times before. Like, oh, you just kept a handful of lightning bolts and fatal pushes. Great game for me.
Yeah.
I'm interested as well to see if I can see any of those Boros lists this weekend. I don't know how many people have brought it. We're trying to get a meta game put together so all you beautiful people at home can also see what the 304 players brought this weekend. Because I've been told that it's pretty good, it's pretty powerful, and it's basically the modern deck with better mana base and a few extra cards swapped around. So I'm really interested to kind of see how that's going to play. But in our backup feature match, we've got 2 players sat down ready to go. Let's have a look at what deck lists they have got. I think we've got Affinity, which we haven't seen already, against another lands deck. Why? I thought Tabernacle was meant to be really expensive. Where's everyone being able to get these cards from?
That's the thing, though. If you have Tabernacle and you can play it, you just go to every tournament you can. So uh, that's how it feels to me. So mono green lands. We've seen this list before. Skateboard. There it is. So it looks like if you're playing mono green, you're playing skateboard. If you have green red, then you're not. I'm joking, of course. But we've seen this list before. It's pretty stock. We have the explorations. We have the skateboard. What I do want to note is that main deck Gravedigger's Cage. That's really interesting because that's heavily respecting the graveyard, and we don't see that very often. So that's really telling that if you're playing against a graveyard deck in the first round, you usually lose. But if you have one in the 60 cards main, you can steal a win there.
All right. Well, we've seen numerous lands decks now, so let's have a look at what it's going to be going up against. We're going to have blue red Affinity. Now, this doesn't have the new was it like Krang card from the Turtle set that's just come out. There was a lot of hype behind, but I imagine this is a shell it'll probably be able to slot into quite easily. Maybe cards being able to get those cards this weekend was a little bit hard. So talk to me about this. What is this deck trying to do, and why is it doing it so well?
Yeah, well, if you remember, this is the similar to the list that One Eternal Weekend, so very powerful, very explosive. Recently, new addition is the Pinnacle Emissary. You just want to play as many artifacts as you possibly can. We did decide to play 4 Chalices main, which is not stock anymore. Sometimes it is, sometimes players decide to play it, sometimes not. We just want to generate card advantage in the form of Emeries, and then we follow that alongside Patchwork, Automatons, and try and kill the opponents fast with going wide with the Emissaries and having built-in ward with the Patchwork. And who knows, if we can make it to the late game, we have Kappa Cannoneer, just big swing right from the bat, and we also have the Sagas. So we're gonna try and win as soon as possible, and maybe if we get lucky and we can chalice on one, it just wins the game on its own.
All right, well, let's get down to the matchup then. Our backup feature match here in round number 2. 9 rounds total today. 304 players, all trying to get themselves to today's top 8. Lots of magic on the line, especially if you're a fan of the Legacy format. That's the players. That's like the hall behind them. One of the judges sat there ready to go. And of course, that's one of the numerous things. The 4Seasons, great tournament, but also there's lots of different vendors there, lots of different artists in the room, lots of food as well. And I think there's one thing that does that we get, luckily now we're on the stream, we can actually talk about what that is behind the scenes as we see a chalice come down on turn number 1. Followed up is going to be the Emery into mill 4. So quite a good setup turn here already. But I want to talk about what I was touching on then about the 4Seasons. It is a community event. The one thing that I love when I go to this is there's lots of different regions all around Italy, and they all have their own little unique take on different foods. Once we finish the 9 rounds today, they will all be sat around on the tables, and everyone will bring their kind of local cuisine from that area of Italy, and they will all share it while having a couple of drinks, talking about their day, celebrating their friends that have done well, etc. And that is something that you just don't see in Magic anymore, not unless you are in Italy. That is one of the only places I've ever seen it, and I love seeing that going forward. As we catch up, Sam, on what's kind of happening here, we see the diamond, we saw a loan, the lands go back into the hand, and now we're back over on Fran's side with this Affinity deck now being able to kind of get a bunch on the board. Going to use the Emery, return one from the bin. That's going to be another bauble.
Yeah, don't blink because this game might just be over very quickly. It's funny because we talked about turn 1 Chalice could just be good enough, but against land, it almost doesn't do anything. So we saw that Alessandro is just like, I don't really care about this Chalice. I'm just going to wasteland your stuff. Now Francesco just decides to go wide here. We discussed this already, and we now also have the Blastoise, as we sometimes call it.
Oh, this card, I tell you. I've lost more
Yeah,
games of Magic to this card than I ever wanted to. Kappa Cannoneer.
yeah, Kappa Cannoneer.
It is a monster in Modern. It is a monster in Legacy, and we're going to see why. Already a 6/6. Every artifact we play from now on, it will get a +1/+1 counter and be unblockable just for the sake of it. So I think both players are going to have to pick, foot to the gas. We can't let a 20/20 hit us. Best way for that to happen is we reduce our opponent's life total from 20 down to 0. Going to crack in here. 7 points of damage. Drop them down to 7 points damage. Have we gained a life? Am I missing something here? Oh, it's only no, it's a 4/4. Oh, it's 6 points damage. I think it's a 5/5. I think it's even better than it actually is. Stupid me.
Yeah. And I've talked about how chalice is not that impactful, but very notable here is that crop rotation has been shut down. Where I think if we would potentially want to stabilize, if we could get something like the Mazavith going, it's usually quite good against the opponent's threats, but not against Kappa Cannoneer because of the ward. So Alessandra is in a tough matchup because Affinity wants to win as soon as possible and usually go wide and has built-in ward. So it has all the tools available to quickly get rid of what Lance wants to do.
We're going to make ourselves
Skateboard.
another
Here we go.
construct. And here's our first skateboard of the weekend, our first Ninja Turtles card. My cartoon of choice when I was growing up. Love this. It is going to be an ETB effect of tap target permanent. It is an equipment +1, +0, and haste for the equipment cost of 1. We're going to. Did we tap down? What did we tap down there?
I think I missed what they tapped at. Was it land?
I think it might have been the mocks at the bottom, and in response, we're going to tap it
All
for
right.
mana, and we're going to bounce back one of these construct tokens, which, of course, being a token means it is basically a kill spell in this situation.
Nice. We did get new dice here. That's really good. Thanks, production.
They're all over it. They're all over it. We only get the best here at 4Seasons, and we hope that you're all enjoying it and appreciating, the level of production that is literally happening here. We're going to equip the boots. We're going to turn this sideways. So that's going to be a crack in for 4, dropping them down to 14 apiece. We've got a race on our hands here, Sam.
Yeah, for sure. But I think in this race, Francesco is heavily favored. So I think Alessandro is in trouble. Who knows? Maybe if we get a lot of these artifacts in, we could just kill them in 1 or 2 swings. Probably is going to happen, but we'll see. I think if Alessandro wants to stabilize, I'm not sure how we can ideally do this because of the Kappa Cannoneer having the ward. Maybe we can try and raise them by having more sagas, but even then, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I'm having a look. I'm trying to work out how this can be done. You know what I mean? Tabernacle, no. It's not. Krakus does nothing. It's not legendary. Of course, it's not legendary. Obviously, Ward 4, gonna make him. We don't have a Maze of If, won't be able to do anything because that's a target. We need
Yeah,
5 mana.
I think Tabernacle is a possibility because we can wasteland away the lands. We don't see that much mana anymore. Okay, we do get a petal here, but if we can maybe scrap them off of their lands and then play the Tabernacle, who knows? Maybe we can get there, but they only need 1 mana for this this creature to be big enough, so it's going to be difficult.
It's a Mox, right? Like, there's a Mox on the board. It doesn't matter if we wasteland, then the Mox is going to be being able to produce that 1 mana they're going to need to keep this Cannoneer around. As Cannoneer is now a 9/9 2-turn clock. 1 more artifact will make it unblockable next turn. So we've got to do something, and we have to do it now. And I don't think we have the option, so we are scooping it up here. That's going to be a quick game 1 to Francesco on the right of our screen.
Really
Ooh.
loved, by the way, playing the Shazon 2. Shuts down Live from the Loam, Rumbles, Disruptor Flutes. So yeah, nice catch.
Right, let's have a little look at the deck list then. One more time, if you're just tuning in, you get to see what both these players are bringing in the 75. And as we start going to the sideboarding part, we can see what they can bring in. And we get Sam's expert opinion on what they should be doing or what he would be doing if he was in that seat. We're going to start off on the land side here. 15 cards in that sideboard. Anything you like?
Yeah, I think there's an easy card you definitely want to bring in all of them. It's Force of Vigor, really strong. You can just pitch a green card and then you can destroy up to 2 artifacts. Really strong. So those are easy things you want to bring in. And apart from that, the race is still on. I think as a lands player, you just want to keep your combo intact and go for the 2020 as soon as possible. So I wouldn't bring it all too much. Maybe we could see something like a Dismember coming in. Maybe the Sniper comes in. But I don't think they are like not an auto inclusions as Force of Figures are. Those are going to be easy. Apart from that, we do have options, but nothing that's like extremely exciting. I could see them playing 1 or 2, but Force of Figures, those are very easy.
All right, over on the other side then, Affinity, 1 game up. Was able to take down game 1 pretty nicely, pretty quick as well, because of that turn 2 Cannoneer. That just, let's be honest, are there many decks in the meta that can deal with a turn 2 Cannoneer? Not that I can think of. I'm sure Sam will be able to tell me I'm wrong. But Sam, tell me, this sideboard, 15 cards, anything you like?
Yeah, not all that much. I do like the Force of Negations because if we do go to a grindy game, we can exile Life from the Loam and Sword. That was very impactful. But we might just go, I don't need counter magic. I'm just going to kill you before you can do literally anything. So I do like that approach from the the Affinity player here. We might just see even a swapping of out with 4/4s, in with 3 Force Negations and 1 Disruptor Flute. Just go all in on the aggressive game plan. Maybe either Spell Bomb is good, because if they do make the token, we can just bounce it and just kill it. Maybe 1 Haymire Might, being able to exile something is fine. But I also expect a relatively light sideboarding here.
What about Torment Script? Is this a card, because there's a lot of resurgence over on the land side using the graveyard a lot? This is a nice 0-mana artifact that we can get with Urza Saga if needs be. Is there any? Do you think that's worth a call, or do you think no, it's not worth it? We're going to be able to do our game plan, make them react to us. We don't need to react to them.
Yeah, really good question. I think if we want to bring in the Force Negations to stop the Life Emblems that way, if we also bring in Tormod Scripts, I'm just wondering, is that not maybe too much? I think we want to go one of the routes. Either we just take out all the counter magic and you bring in the Crypts, you bring in the Spell Bombs, the Haywire Mites, and not rely on the counter magic. Or we do want to keep some counter magic intact and then not overboard with the Tormod Script, etc. Because the land decks is also very, very possible of just not needing Life from the Loam to win. So I could see us bring in some numbers, but you don't want to go too much all in on stopping Life from the Loam, because they don't really need it if they can win another way.
All right, well, let's get down to the matchup then. Game number 2 here. Round number 2. 9 of them total. We're starting off on the land side with an Expedition that's going to let us play a second land for the turn if needs be, and it is going to be an Urza Saga, and then that's going to be into a Pippin Needle. All right, 4 cards turn 1. Which deck's the Affinity deck now?
Yeah, who's the aggro deck now? I think with this Pithing Needle, it is interesting to think about what we want to name. Maybe Emery is a good slot at this point. Anything? I'm thinking about if I would name anything else apart from Emery. No, I think that would be my guess.
You could try and blindly call a Bauble, but yeah, I think Emery's kind of the biggest payoff card for that Pippin Needle. I agree with you. Well, how about Pippin Needle back on the other side?
This is really cool. I like this. But what are we naming with Pithing Needle? Maybe we're afraid of Wasteland?
Bauble, Mox. Go.
Okay. So they did bring in the Graveyard Hate. That's interesting.
Luckily, there's no Cannoneer there. That is where things get interesting. We are now going to force in the with
force
the take out the mana.
Yikes.
Take this out. Take that out.
Oh gee, that is just such a blowout. Oh, man, that hurts.
So is game plan to win through contract tokens, I guess?
I think that was the game plan of, well, both of them really. I think Francesco, my guess would be that you name Wasteland with the Pithing Needle and then just ride your Saga tokens to victory, because look at how many artifacts we have. That's just 1 or 2 swings and it's good enough, but yeah. That works.
Oh, so we're paying the free life off the Sink to the Stupor, and the last card in hand was a Cannoneer. They always have the Cannoneer.
This is looking to be really a race. It doesn't feel like currently the lands deck is just all in. Also, and I'm going to call you out. If you attack with your Cannoneer, my clue tokens will be very big as well. So I think I'm going to win the race.
They're going to be a pair of 4/4s currently, especially once this artifact is going to come into play that we find off the Saga search. Options we could go for Skateboard. We could also go for the Grafter's Cage, a Expedition map. We can go for the Mox Diamond if needs be.
My guess is that Cage has been boarded out. That would be my guess. So I'd probably just go for Skateboard, honestly. Maybe Mox if we need mana.
I didn't get a good look at what the last card was in hand that was drawn. Kind of deciding, I think, yeah, Skateboards, I think, was brought to the, oh no, it's Expedition map they brought to the front of the deck. So if we go Expedition map, potentially next turn we could, try and get something like a Tabernacle down. But we're going to go for Skateboard.
We've seen a lot of skateboards today. That was not on my on my radar.
Don't lie. It was. You said before we came on air, you said there's a new card for it, and I'm going to be interested to see if Skateboard sees play.
I was going to be happy if you saw it once. We've seen it this is like the 3rd time now.
Well, it just cracked in, advancing that race here.
Yeah.
For Alessandro on the left of our screen, 5 points of damage coming in. Draw off the top of the deck here for Francesco. Didn't really get a good look at it. But of course, if no artifact comes down, that means this does not have unblockable. Not that I particularly think you would want to block here, but crazy things have happened. Both are 4/4s because of the 4 artifacts on the board. One of them's got an extra +1/+0 because of the Skateboard. It's an aggressive skateboard. Normally I'm hurting myself when I'm on a skateboard.
And I'm just wondering if Francesco wants to just crack all these baubles to maybe find some stuff, but he's been very careful about not using them, so there's something there. But looks like we are going to fire them off.
Crack one ball, look at the top card of your deck. Crack the other one, look at your hand, no cards in hand. Crack the other one, no cards in your hand. Pass the turn back. I'm going to draw 3 in your upkeep. Bam, bam, bam.
I
On the
think we
other
just want to
side.
find something like either Spellbomb, Haywire Might. If we can bounce the opponent's clue tokens, we are still good. So I think we're just looking for a way to do that.
Even just another artifact would be good, right? Because then
Sure.
the Cannoneer outgrows these constructs on the other side. Now, by actually finding another artifact in this Disruptor Flute, means the constructs are going to grow to 5/5s, which means they are able to attack into this Cannoneer, not just one, but both of them now, which is actually pretty huge. If you think about it, looking at the race, this is 11 points of damage on the board.
And I'm also wondering what we are naming, because what do we actually care about? Honestly, if I was Alessandro, I would just name one of the cards I just said, just hope to not have my tokens get bounced. So I would
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
even name Spellbomb or Haywire Might, just go all in.
Woof. We're scooping it up. That's just going to be too much. Dropping down to 1. We're not going to be able to turn that round from that situation. So we get to get a game number 3 here for both these players. There's no control magic going on here. That was
No.
match number 1. This is an aggro game through and through, ladies and gentlemen.
Who's the aggro deck now, right?
Exactly. Well, let's have a look at their deck list one more time. See what both players have brought this weekend. They've got themselves 1 W so far this weekend. They're looking to try and get themselves the second one. We're going to start off, I believe, over on the land side. Let's see if production's going to cue that up perfectly or not. Boom! Just as I set it up. Okay, now we're on the draw though. We need to, potentially slow down a little bit. Is there anything you like bringing in here, or are we just going to straight try and race up?
I don't think it's going to change as much. If we do change anything, imagine we did not bring in the dismembers. I could see us bringing it in now because we're on draw, so we're a bit slower. We do want to interact a bit more. If we didn't bring it in last game, I could see that one being swapped. But apart from that, I don't expect that many changes.
I'm looking at the Otawara in this list. Is the only blue way to get blue mana from the Mox Diamonds?
Let's see.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think so.
I was just wondering, but essentially that's a way, a way to bounce something back for like a key turn if we're looking at sort of like that racing situation that we're in. But it'd be interesting to see if it even come in, but also if it would make any difference. So let's have a look at the Affinity list. See the 75 now that they are going to be on the play. This deck definitely looks like it's built for racing though.
Yeah, so again here, if we do want to change anything, if we on the draw had brought in stuff like Force Negation or the Tormod script, I could see us just going all in because we're on the play. We just want to go as fast as possible and then just play every single threat that we have. But we talked about it last game. I think the player here decided to go for the Tormod script route, not bringing the Force Negations. Maybe we do that again, bring it in to just try and protect our own tokens. But here, the same as last time, I expect very, very little sideboarding.
All right, what's the battle of the Lava Spa boots versus the skateboard? Which one is going to be quicker here? Affinity versus Lands. Game number 3, round number 2. 9 of them total for you today. 304 players. Let's get it going. Well, it looks like we've got a super explosive start here from the Affinity side. We're going to go with an Ancient Tomb, take 2 points of damage, gain 2 mana. Flute is what we're going to play in the blind. What are you going to name here?
Yeah, and the blind is difficult because against lands, I guess Wasteland, that was maybe what I'm most afraid of. I'm thinking about what else. Is there anything that I'd rather have with the flute? Maybe Exploration. I could see that happening if you don't want the opponent to have an explosive start. But those would be my guesses.
Here's Once Upon a Time. So we're going to go looking at the top 5 cards of our deck, is it? Yeah, 5 cards reveal a land basically from in this deck and put it into your hand. We're going to find the forest. We're going to play the forest. We're going to play an expedition from that forest, which lets us play another land drop for the turn. And that's
so
going to
we
be
know that
Saga.
they did not name the Exploration.
Another bauble for the turn. 2 more damage. And here comes a Cannoneer every time. Do we not
I think
need
they had
blue?
it.
Yes, blue mana.
I think they had it every single time, right?
They always do. That's the key about this deck. Like they just always have it. Sometimes it's turn 1, sometimes it's turn 2, but they're always going to have it. Now that race that we spoke about is on. Urza's Saga is going to go up to 2. We're going to play Dark Depths on the other side. Oh, okay. What have we got that could
Well,
do with this? Maybe that's what Flute was going to name. Maybe it didn't. Maybe we kind of hedged
it's
our bet a
possible.
bit too early.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. If you play a turn one, it's always difficult because you have so many cards that you could name, and it depends on what the rest of the hand is. Like, imagine if you have, if you're the Affinity player and you have the Flute, but you also have something like, damn, what's the name again of the card? The Aether Spellbomb. Then you do not want to name the Meridal Age generating land because you can just bounce it. So it's difficult to choose something where you don't have full information.
All right, Bauble is what we're going to play. It's going to make the Cannoneer unblockable. I'm trying to work out how we can stay alive here. If we have a Shadow Spear, can we
That's
equip
really good.
the Shadow Spear here? No, we're just cracking everything. I don't know what we need to find, but here comes a 2020 token with flying.
So the Flute did not name the Thespian stage.
What are we trying to find? I don't.
Guess we just get
I'm looking. There
skateboard.
is. But it's not even skateboard. Like we can just attack for lethal here. There's no way to block. There's no way to bounce it because we don't have the double blue that we need off for like a sink into stupor.
Yeah, we did get the skateboard.
Is this just game? Oh, we drew the
There.
spellbomb that we needed, and it didn't have the
Yeah.
blue mana to cast it. Unfortunately, we said it was going to be a race here, but Land's able to take that one down. Turns out 2020 Flying Indestructible is pretty good in Magic the Gathering still. Love to see it. Love to see it. I love a fast, you know what I mean? Me and you, Sam, both Infect players. We love to see these fast games. We want to go and get some food in between the rounds.
Sure.
These players being able to do it, but in two completely different ways.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how the shift in the lands deck just completely swapping over from control game slime to hyper aggro. They were blisteringly fast in both games 2 and 3, so it was pretty nuts, honestly.
Love to see it. Okay, right. Well, that is going to be the end of round number 2. Of course, we've got 9 rounds total for you for today. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be back shortly with some more Legacy action. See you soon. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to 4 Season Tournaments. We're about to head into round number 3, and you're currently looking at 50% of the Infect meta in Magic the Gathering right now. My name is Will Hall, and that is Sam Dans. Sam, 2 rounds in, we've seen some control decks, we've seen a lot of lands decks, we've seen some aggro decks. What do you think are going to be moving into like the legacy meta moving forward? What sort of area is it in currently?
I think currently Legacy is really nice because we're seeing a lot of decks that we've not seen in the past. We've seen a lot of lands, we've seen Affinity coming back, we've seen some new cards also popping up in the form of Skateboard. So right now it feels to me like Legacy is open again. You can play whatever you want and you can do well with this. So I'm excited about this format at this time.
Well, there's a couple of different archetypes in Magic. We spoke about the control decks. We spoke about the aggro decks, the mid-range decks. How about some combo decks for our next feature match as we go into round number 3? Let's get those deck lists up on the screen. Let's show everyone at home what decks we're going to be seeing because we've got basically a combo mirror. We're going to start off with the suspense. Turbo Smog. Talk to me about this deck, this combo. What are we trying to achieve?
Yeah, well, Will, Turbo Smog. It's been a while since I've seen this list, so I'm really excited here. So this, as the name it says, Turbo Smog relies all on the card Chain of Smog, and there is a lot of ways how we can abuse this. What you want to do is with Chain of Smog, you want to target yourself, and then you force a discard, and you just copy it infinitely, and then you can infinitely do that, and you win that way. For instance, what you can do is the Witherbloom Apprentice. What it says is that you drain, so you drain 1 life from the opponent, but that means since it's infinite, we just put him to 0 life. And we also have another way to do this in the form of Sedgemoor Witch. And Sedgemoor Witch says that whenever you cast or copy an instant, you create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with, when it dies, you gain 1 life. So we just make infinite 1/1s, and we're going to win that way too. Also gain infinite life when we do this. But it's funny that we also have stuff like Barragoyf, because we can also just kill you by attacking with a Barragoyf. That's I think that's really funny.
Plan B, as we're going to call that. All right, well, that's going to be going up against, so spoilers, another combo deck, and more importantly, probably one of the most mainstream combo decks, I would say, in the meta in Doomsday. Tell me about Doomsday. What is it trying to do, and how does it achieve it?
Doomsday is a really cool deck because you have 2 ways how you can build this. You can go all in on the combo, or you can do like a bit of a hybrid where you also play creatures, and you just always play Tamio if you can. And we can see this in this list again. Even though we are going full on the combo, we also have the 3 Tamios because we can just go for infinite if we want to. But look at the sideboard, 4 Barragoyfs. This is relatively stock these days. If we want to have the Duke of our opponents sideboarding out all of their removal spells and we just bring in 4 Barragoyfs, that's also very possible to win on its own.
Interesting. Well, let's get down to game at number 1 then, as we are heading into round 3 of the 9 that we're bringing you all today. That's the key thing in everyone's matchup, is they want to get themselves into the top 8. Once you're in that top 8, split prizes, split money, split play match. You get everything. You get to get an early night and get to go celebrate with your friends as we're off to the races here. Looks like we're going to have it start with Turbo Smog being on the play. Going to go fetch up a basic swamp. Here's some player cams, courtesy of the Impact Gaming lads, bringing us some amazing production. Cradle.
Yeah. I am curious. I was wondering about who's favored in this matchup, and I think my guess would be Doomsday, but that's mainly because Doomsday has a way to use Days of Force Will to interact with a combo, where when we look at the Turbo Smog player, they really don't have as much to interact with Doomsday if they go for the win, apart from Thoughtseize.
We're going to start off with a Ponder. Look at the top 3. One of them is definitely Days. Not sure about the others.
This turn 1 Barragoyf is very interesting though, especially against Doomsday. They do have to cut through half of their life if they go for the Doomsday. So this is going to kill really quickly. So we may see Raphael having to set up a turn where if they do go for the Doomsday, they need to win on the same turn.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe they didn't know what they were against. You know, when you go in a turn 1 Barragoyf in Legacy, it's pretty good as it is. It's going to be a 2-3. But going in, maybe they knew it against Doomsday and went, well, I can apply early pressure. That'd be great. That's going to try and disrupt their combo as they try to go for it. So I think getting it down early is going to be key, opposed to potentially trying to go for my own combo. But we'll see how it pans out, as we're just going to pass the turn back.
One thing I do want to call out, Raphael, apparently from the United States of America. Really cool. People are discovering the format, the tournament already in Europe. So that's interesting to see.
Oh, there's a large number of players that come across from not just America, but the whole world tend to come together for these events because you don't get many opportunities to play Legacy or Vintage in person currently. So, if you want to play them, you do have to travel. And if you're going to travel, this has got to be one of, if not the best event to be able to do that in. 304 players turned up today, and I'll be, maybe we can get a meta breakdown on where they were from. Let's see, I'll maybe try and push the production out that way. But we're going to need to mill a couple of cards. It's going to be 4 power. Well, we got artifact, land, sorcery, instant. Don't think we got a creature in there. We're going to go surveilling. Do we like that top card? And then we're going to use a 4Seasons targeting Wrath on the right of our screen.
Let's see what we wanted to take here. My guess is that, well,
We could daze it. We could daze.
Well, we could daze, indeed. But see, Ralph, I'm thinking about it. Do I need the daze to protect the combo, or we do try? Yeah, we do decide to go for it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Drew a backup daze just in case, for next turn.
Lovely, lovely.
3 lands, 1 daze. Can't make out what exactly else is in the hand. I think there might be a vault in there as well.
I think I see a Dark Ritual as well. I think it's a third card from the top. So 2 lands, Dark Ritual.
Dark
I don't think
Ritual
there's a
reprinted
Doomsday yet.
in the new Turtle set. There's a Dark Ritual with
Really?
Splinter eating some pizza.
Okay, I wonder if it has that one. I probably wouldn't recognize it. So
It's
okay.
yeah, I think there's an ongoing joke at the minute that every Turtles card has got a pizza in it or something like that. So
Yeah.
that of course Splinter has to be eating pizza. We're going to connect with this Barrowglyph. Another 4 points of damage dealt and gained. And now we're going to start, the cat is out of the bag, basically, by playing this witch.
Sedgemoor Witch being played. I was about to talk about this because we do have Barrowglyph and it's really good, don't get me wrong. But since we are going to win through the route of a Barrowglyph, we do put stuff into the graveyard. So our opponent does know that we are actually playing the Smog combo as well. So it's not like if we are playing Doomsday, for instance, and we win with Barrowglyph, we can just hide the combo altogether and make it seem like we are blue-black. The Smog player is not able to do that.
That's on how they want to go about this. Are they going to let this resolve? Again, another day's target if they want to.
Yeah, this is difficult because the Smog player is just going for a 3/2 attacking as well. It's very scary, so we may just have to, and this is also very. Let me just pop in here because I think this is Spoils of the Vault.
This
We
is
have to do
Spoils
is
of the
we
Vault.
have to. We may just die here, which is funny. Spoils of the Vault. We have to name a card. My guess is that we are naming Doomsday because what else are we going to name? And then we reveal cards until we see it, and then we just lose life. So, how many cards were revealed?
A lot.
A lot. Doesn't seem like it was enough. Otherwise, we probably would have seen a concession. There we go. Go to one.
No, I'm
Okay,
not saying no.
go
3 life down to 3. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not free, but as in free to be able to do that. It is going to cost us some life points. Luckily, it came at the exact moment that he needed to. Means Rav's going to be at 3 with that Dark Ritual that you spoke about, and now Doomsday. Are we able to get the W on this turn?
So we are going to go to 1 because we need Doomsday, and I think Doomsday is rounded up, if I'm correct. Let me just quickly check. Rounded up indeed. So we are going to put ourselves to 1. So we need to win this turn, or we just lose.
It's rounded up not to 2, rounded down to 1.
But
I think half your life total, right?
Yeah, but you half your life total, so I think you have to lose 2 life, right? Because you have to lose life rounded up, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. No, your life total doesn't become X rounded up; it's you lose half your life rounded up. So you would go down to 1. You're right.
Which is very relevant here because anything that our opponent does is just lethal. We need to win now or not do anything.
I'm pretty sure we've got the cards that we need. Are we going to be able to put it out the bag though? This is where Doomsday plays. You don't bring this if you haven't been in these sticky situations before. If you don't know how to get yourself from underneath them. We're gonna.
Does look like they made a small correction to the life total.
I should reckon they're at 4. Not that it's going to make too much of a difference right now. Here comes the Doomsday. So again, we're going to go down to 2 now. Means both threats on the board would be lethal if we're allowed to untap and go to combat.
And why I stress the life total is so important, because being to 2 or 1 is not the biggest difference, but being 3 is, because with Street Wraith, what we want to do is want to cycle. We pay 2 life to draw an extra card, and that is very often very important for Doomsday to actually win, because we can cycle through the deck for free. With us being at 2, that is not a possibility for us, so this is going to be a more difficult pile to set up. So I am curious how Raphael will navigate this. I imagine it must be some combination of us also getting mana, so maybe we have some Lotus Petals in there, maybe we have a cantrip. Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, I'm going to ask you, what's the typical pile? Like, obviously, normally people cast Doomsday and win the game. How do they normally win the game when there aren't complications like being at 2 life?
Well, the main thing what we want to do is want to play Tatha's Oracle. So it depends on if you're playing against another deck that has Force Wheels or not. If the opponent has counter magic, you just always try and put in a Cavern of Souls in there, because it's just a generated, it's a guaranteed win, because you play the Cavern of Souls, you name something like Mofolk or Wizard, and you know that they can't interact with you at that point unless they have something like Dress Down, stuff like that. And then what you want to do, if you can, you want to win as soon as possible. So if you do put a couple of Street Raids in there, you can just cycle through the deck, get the Thassa's Oracle, and win that way. While I was talking, I actually missed how they won. I didn't know if you had that.
I don't think they won. I think they literally realized with the Street Wraith, as you said, about they didn't have
Oh,
the life
okay.
total to go through it, so they just scooped it up. So it means
Okay.
we get to. Looks like we're going to skip to game 2 here? Question mark. Looks like we're going to just go straight to it. So once they kick off, we'll start with it. We'll get those live totals updated for you all. Well, this might be, we might be have a reset back to game 1. Production, we're doing that. If you need to production, come back to the booth and to let us know when you square that. Because we can talk about also one card that got milled there was the fastest Oracle. Normally, you know, that's a game changer. Fast Oracles who've gone, I can't win the game from here. But there's 2 fastest Oracle in these lists just for that, to have a little bit of backup, a little bit of resurgence if needs be.
And this is something that we see Doomsday players do a lot. You usually play 2 Thassa's Oracles because it's like a failsafe. Very often just put Thassa's Oracle as the last 2 cards. You can try once. If it fails, you can just try again. So that's something that very often happens.
So it looks like, you know, game 2 was basically a non-game, and you know, Ralph was able to just Doomsday early. So we're going to skip straight to game number 3 here. What's that card? Is that one
I think
a
it's
vault
just
on the other side?
yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, 4 copies in the deck. Okay,
I
we're
love
gonna
this
slightly.
because it's so cool, because you can just die at this point. It's possible that just
Oh my word!
turn
What did
1,
we
kill
name?
myself. Yeah, I guess we name the
How,
missing piece. So Chain of Smog or Witherbloom Apprentice, or maybe even Mana. It depends on what we need to finish the combo.
that's a lot of life.
I think did Rafa just yeah.
Oh, my, oh, cool. Magic's fun.
Yeah,
You want to play
uh,
degenerate decks? Well, sometimes they don't go great.
that's
So
yeah,
I
that's
was
the
like,
risk that spoils the default.
hon, Elvish Spirit Guides 3. They've played. They got 2 of those plus all that, and they're like, yeah, look, I was going to do it back in return. Okay, great magic there for you. We
It's
saw
funny.
potentially 1 mana worth of spell cast, and yet it was able to
Yeah.
kill someone. Ideal.
And
We love to
1,
see
kill
it.
myself.
We
Sure.
get to,
Resolves.
but we've got backup magic for you all, though. Don't worry, we're not just giving you. We're giving you the combo decks just to get them out the way. Kind of see some cool, funky stuff on camera. But in our backup feature match, we will be taking a little bit longer because I'm starting to think someone on production really likes lands decks, and that is what we've got in our backup feature match. It looks like we've got lands versus the blue-white initiate deck. So we're going to start off on the land side. A couple of different cards here from what we've already seen today. So that means there's at least 3 different lands players in the room. Talk to me about some of these card choices. What is lands trying to do?
Right, so this is Cradle control. I don't think it's lands, if I'm correct.
Oh,
Um,
I'm an
so
idiot.
we've seen this also a couple of times. Let's see if there's anything spicy in here. Yeah, a couple of cards I think is going to be good to talk about. So Formidable Speaker, relatively new, also from Lorwyn. It basically allows you to search up a creature that you want, because when it enters, you can discard, and if you do, you search up a creature. So that's really cool. I like that. We have the Ice Still Explorer, another card that we haven't seen. So you get to replay cards from the graveyard, and by that I mean lands. And then we also have the Eladamri Corvi. Let's just say Eladamri. I don't want to try that again. Where you get to see the top of the deck, and then you get to play creatures cards from there. So you can see what I like about these Cradle control lists. I think every single list we've seen up to this point has 1 or 2, maybe even 3 different flex slots, which is something that I really enjoy in these lists.
I've never seen that art on Ice Till in my life. That's got to be a new one, but it's also an art. Now I know. Well, it's going to be going up against the red white initiate deck. Now this kind of had was it was all the rage a couple of years ago. Kind of dropped off a little bit, but why were we bringing it this weekend? What's the power of it? What's it trying to do?
So what we want to do is want to cheat out the initiative as soon as possible and win that way. Ideally, we can just play the initiative and make it so our opponent does not play magic. We have Trinisphere, we have Magic of the Moon, so we want to disrupt them as quickly as possible. And we also have ways to get the initiative. What I do want to talk about is the Blood Boil Sorcerer, a card you don't see all that often, where it's another one of those cards that allows you to take the initiative, but it's something that we haven't seen all that much. And we also have Chancellors here where we just want to, our turn one, we want to make it so we can just do our thing, especially against Force Will based decks. If we just show this, Force Will doesn't work. So I'm sure this is going to be very, very aggressive.
Well, let's get down to it and see how aggressive this is going to be. As we're going to move into our backup feature match for round number 3. 304 players turned up this morning. We're going to try and whittle that down to our final 8. Both players here off to a winning record, 2-0. Now, how explosive is this turn 1 going to be? We're going to exile. We're going to exile again. 3 mana. Turn 1, Magus of the Moon. It's been a while.
This
Pass.
could just be good enough. So now Cradle Control does play basics, so it's not game over per se, but it might be. It depends on the opening hand.
2 basics forests in the deck is what I'm seeing. Do not see any in the hand. So just play a basic now and then go.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of this one. It is so difficult.
Oh, haven't we all? Haven't we all been on?
So now, unfortunately, if you're playing Cradle Control, I think this is just game over,
Ooh.
honestly, because we may just see Alessandro doing nothing else but attacking and Didier not being able to play the game.
Well, at least we've gone from a 10 turn clock to a 5 turn clock now.
Yeah, which is good enough.
Play another mountain.
I'm just checking. I don't think there's any out here for Didier other than drawing the basics.
At what point is the basics? I guess we've got like a turn or 2. It's got to be this card or the next has got to be that basic. I suppose we've got Dryad Arbor. There's 2 of those in the deck. We could play 2 of those as a blocker to get 1 off the board. Question mark.
Mm-hmm. If we do find a forest and we have something like a Crimson Zenith, we can search up potentially a way to get more mana, maybe have a Badger Mole or just find a Noble, stuff like that. So we could get a ramp going. So now that Didier knows that they are playing against Red-White Initiative, the Blood Moon effects are not as impactful against Didier as it may seem, because very often they do have ways to turn 1 play Mana Dorks. But I think this is one of the situations where being on the player on the draw was very impactful.
The awkward the Arbor can obviously block, try and give us an extra turn back, but in this scenario being at 10 life, it wouldn't give us the turn that we need. We're going to go to discard. We're going to discard these Ice Fang tilt.
Ice Till Explorer.
But I say wrong tilt. The Explorer is going to go to the bin. Then we're going to hard cast this, an Ape just to add more power to the board.
I love this. Hard cast it. Just get in the beats.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that 3 mana 2/2, and it was enough there to take down game number 1. So we get to look at the sideboard for this deck, slightly different to what we've seen already from this control list. What do you like?
Yeah, for Cradle Control, what we want to do is we do want to try and prevent these Magus of the Moon effects to kill us. So what we could try is play Abrupt Decays and just get Thought Seizes. Here, I don't think we want to play as many of these kind of spells because we want to get our combo going because they will not interact with it. So my guess is Thought Seizes for sure, and then maybe Abrupt Decays, but I could see them not bringing it in. Force of Vigors, I'm just not sure if we know about what our opponent's playing, because they showed us the 2 Blood Moon effects, and we also saw the ape that makes mana. But apart from that, it's possible that we just think that we are playing against Blood Moon, or did they show the Anointed Peacekeeper?
They showed their Peacekeeper got exiled. They also showed a Krakus.
Right. So that means we know what's up. So potentially we could also bring in the Force of Vigors to get rid of some artifacts, but I don't think it's worth it.
Well, here is their 75. So let's have a look if they'd be bringing anything out of this side. Well, nice and clean. I like it. A 4/4/3. Anything you like?
Yeah, Furies.
Just you couldn't have said that quicker if you tried, could you?
Yeah, exactly. I've been on the receiving end as well. Yeah, you just want to get rid of the creatures, and Fury is going to be amazing against the Cradle control player. So I think we just bring in those, and that's it. I don't think we want to disrupt the flutes. We could, but if we just kill all the creatures, it's good enough. So my guess is Furies, and that's it.
All right, or the deck is full of 0 or 1 toughness creatures, weak against Fury. Got it. Let's go right down to the match. Let's see how it pans out in game number 2. Ooh, we're starting off with the Chancellor. So remind me what this does if for people that haven't seen it before.
So if you reveal it in the opening hand, your opponent has to play 1 extra for the first spell they play. And this is really cool because if your opponent wants to play a mana dork now, they have to pay 1 more. So it's really awkward. Maybe it doesn't seem that impactful, but it really is. But this is the perfect answer because we can just pay for this once upon a time. Now, of course, this still means that we're not able to develop the board turn 1. We can't play a mana dork, but we do have basic forest. So at least that's good.
And we're going to find an ignoble hierarch from it. Shuffle, put these to the bottom, pass the turn across. Now, what can we do with our turn 1? We're going to have a super explosive turn like we did last time. We're going to start with a City of Traitors into a Petal, an 8. That's 4 mana. Into, now the trigger's got to be upright. This one is the Seasoned Dragoneer. So,
Seasoned Dungeoneer, yeah.
Oh, Dungeon. What did I say? Dragoneer?
The
I
Dragoneer.
was close on the D&D stuff. Okay, I was close on the dungeon.
It is from the D&D set, yeah.
It's gonna get us into the initiative in going down through the Undercity. Also, it's got the ability that attacking. Oh, you can give things protection when it attacks. That's not really the relevant part of that card for, especially not in this matchup just yet.
Yeah, not in this matchup, but this is scary. Turn 1, we have this massive threat. How are you gonna get rid of this? This is just Cradle control player is under a lot of stress, so I'm afraid for them. Let's see if they are able to come back from this. Natural order goes a long way, so if we just develop 2 mana dogs next turn natural order, we may just get there.
Maybe we're going to deploy that noble that we were able to find off that once upon a time for the turn. So start trying to establish. There it is. That's what we're going to play for the turn. We can. I think I've got a Safekeeper in hand as well if we want to play that. We're going to go fetching. Now, can you name all the rooms in Undercity without looking? No? Okay.
No, that's very
That's the end of that covenant. So I am.
And I also don't want to.
I'm quite big on like my Dungeons and Dragons lore. And I used to like know all the different laws behind all the different dungeons. Obviously, Undercity is Undercity is a really cool one. And like how it all kind of links up, it's pretty sweet. Like the actual lore behind it.
So I know the most, but I don't know the names.
Well, first one was Secret Entrance. So that's the one we're gonna, go find ourselves a basic. Next options we're gonna have is gonna be either we're gonna go to the Forge or we're gonna go to the Lost Well. We can either hit some +1/+1 counters on a creature, or we can, scry 2. Depends if we want to get that beat down or we want to set up for our next couple of turns.
And I think what I would do is play the Safekeeper. We probably know that our opponent plays something like a Fury, so if we can protect our creatures, that's really good. If they're Fury here, maybe we just save one of them and not the other one, just a mana dork. I could see that happening, so I like this play.
We're going to put 2+1/+ counters on it, give it 5 power now, so it is turning itself into a huge beatdown stick. Downside of City of Traitors, next land we play, we do have to sacrifice it. So we do have that basic mountain that we know. I think we've also got another city in hand. Do we have anything that's red and 3 mana? Let's find out. We're going to start off by floating 2, then play the basic mountain. Oh, we're going to go straight into a Bombardier. Talk to me about this card. This is a cube all-star.
Yeah, so what Bombardier does is just, I'm going to try and kill you as soon as possible. So the Bombardiers, it immediately has Menace and Haste, so you can't block it. And as soon as you've attacked, what you can do is you can sacrifice another creature or an artifact and then deal damage equal to the mana cost +2. So this just goes fast, because keep in mind that these initiative decks, they play so many expensive things that you can just throw the Seasoned Engineer at someone and that's 6 damage too. So this game might just be over next turn.
Am I missing? Did he draw a card then of something? Did I miss the reason behind that?
Off of the Undercity, maybe.
Off the Undercity. No, because the next one they're going to go into is a trap or the arena. I'm just reading the Dungeoneer to make sure.
I didn't see them drawing a card, but I may have.
Oh, it explores. It's got explore.
Oh, right.
That's what it
Okay.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, there's definitely a reason behind it, but I couldn't work out its explore part.
Important turn here. Let's see if they have natural order. If they do, we could be in a totally different game. But if not, we could be in trouble. I just see a white, Wasteland, and Green Sun Zenith. I can't catch the third card.
Green Sun Zenith for 2. Is this the third player as well that's got Eco Baron sleeves?
Second one? I'm not sure.
Was it was
It's clear that
him.
the barons are gathering. That's for sure.
It was him. He played him. We had the control player last game, and this. Yeah, it's got to be the third. Do you reckon he's just walking around and handing out packs of sleeves to people?
I think so. He tries to just hand them everywhere.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
you're on
wouldn't
stream.
put
Would
it
you
past
mind
him.
re-sleeving your deck very quickly?
That's such an Eco Baron thing to do. That guy, chat. I tell you. If you want to level up any of your content to do with Eternal formats, he is the man for it. We're going to find the cub again, one of the newer cards in Magic the Gathering. That's going to come along, going to Earthbind one of these lands. We're going to go with the Dried Arbor, so it's going to give it a +1 counter, making it a 2/2 now. And of course, can tap for 2 mana if needs be.
So I guess what we want to do is we just want to try and kill the bombardiers. That's why we put the counter on the Dryad Arbor.
Does Bombardier have Menace? It does have this, yeah.
Yeah, he has everything.
Why wouldn't it?
But Alessandro, if he doesn't win quickly, he's stuck at 1 red mana currently. So if Didier is able to stabilize, it's going to be difficult.
Well, we've already got 6 damage on the board, right? Yeah, because we take damage. So we went to a trap, did 5 damage to the face.
Yep.
So we're going down the left-hand side of all these dungeons. If we can somehow find a 5-drop and we could fling that to the face.
Yeah, we don't need much anymore. It's just currently we're 1 short because we can just fire off the Dungeoneer to the face, but that puts him to 1. So we are so close.
We can also get rid of the whole board here, right? Like you attack with both. They both have to be blocked. So you double block the Bombardier, you block the big one. I suppose it doesn't. It only clears 2 creatures.
Yeah, I don't think that's a winning line because then the opponent just takes the initiative and you have 1 mountain. So I don't think that's what we're going to be doing. I think I'd rather just try and get a favorable trade here.
Oh, we're going to go.
Keep in mind, we do get protection, so that's good.
The Krakus is what we're going to find. It's going to go to the grip. Going to have a little.
And I'm curious because we attack with a Dungeoneer, right? So we do give a creature protection. So how is Didier going to navigate this?
Does it gain protection or a creature gains protection? I guess it gains protection itself.
That would be my guess, yes.
Double block here. That's going to trade with the cub. Yeah, because there's no point trying with the Dried because it'll just come back anyway. Then you're going to take 5 damage, drop down to 2. Just looking for a way to get past. So it's whenever it attacks, target attacking cleric, rogue, wizard, or wizard gains protection from creatures until the end of turn. It being a warrior itself can give itself protection.
And I like this play especially because we wanted to attacking it like this way made our opponents setting them up to make a mistake, right? Maybe they didn't realize about the protection or they didn't know what the Bombardiers actually did. And even if our opponent does play everything correctly, as they did, next turn we can still just attack with protection and still kill them. So I like this play. Just we're all in, so why don't we just play as aggressive as we can? And our opponent needs to get rid of this Dungeoneer or we still win.
I'm trying. It doesn't look like they've got a way of getting rid of it. That's the problem. I think Grist is the only way to get rid of it. Other than that, like you can't even natural order into an Atraxa because they'll just bounce it back with the Krakus. Yeah, just going to get the fist bump here, be able to take that game down. Like, 2 kind of non-games. That last game was a bit more important, but a blocker, you just give it protection from green. It just runs straight through. There's nothing we can do about it. Really sweet game, and this is what I think I want to see more of these red-white decks as we go through. They don't have the fanciness that you see in these blue decks, being able to draw these cards and kind of brainstorming and shuffling. They're just straight up, here's some powerful stuff. I'm going to try and ride this to victory. If you can deal with it, great. I'm probably going to lose. If not, I'm going to draw a hand there. I think 6 lands in hand, and you're going to be able to take it down. But
yeah.
more importantly,
I'm just gonna make a turn 1 play and see if it's good enough.
Yeah, basically, and Alessandro's been able to take this down, going to advance to a 3-0 record this weekend. Love to see it. As we're going to start heading back to the booth, because that's our main feature match and our backup feature match done. Two extremely quick games and an extremely quick round. We're flying through this Legacy. Is Legacy really fast format currently?
Generally, no. I think it can be, but we saw, for example, we saw a lot of lands decks. Lands deck usually take a lot of time. We saw a lot of back and forth in the other decks as well. So it can definitely be you have like the broken combo decks that want to do that thing as fast as possible. But that's not what Legacy is all about, which is nice. If you look at like the meta share, the best decks in the format right now are all pretty fair. We see like Dimir mid range or Dimir aggro, which wants to play a longer game, is very good right now. We also have like Delver decks on top. So we also saw a lot of control decks. So I think you can, as we said before, Legacy is very, very good right now, and you can play whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the good things about just this weekend in general and the production that the team that's behind it, and I've mentioned them multiple times, and I'm going to keep mentioning them all the way through, is if we were playing like a normal, if we were going 2 time with the tournament now, and there's some control mirrors out there or control decks or whatever it's going to be, and there's another 20 minutes left in the round, me and you would have to sit here talking for ages and ages and ages, and people might get bored of us talking about how good Infect is and how easy it is to count to 10. So with the production, obviously we have that little bit of delay going on. We're able to build that buffer, which means we can cut out all that downtime. So just people at home get to watch more and more gameplay back after back after back without us having to waffle. So that's going to be the end of round number 3. We're going to step away, have a short little break, turn it around. And when we come back, we'll be giving you round number 4 here of the 9 that we're bringing you. So don't go anywhere and we'll see you shortly.